Chapter 74. The meeting of heroes lasted for more than 4 hours. Everyone was conversing with each other. There were also some experts who humbly asked for guidance from the two kings. The atmosphere was very lively. Yi Qinghan, Zhao Wuji, Ling Chen, and the others talked for a while and stopped talking. They listened to everyone's conversation. However, most of the experts did not come to the meeting of heroes to share their experiences but to make friends. Lu Outyan wandered through the crowd. Some maids brought a large amount of spirit fruits and wine. Everyone was divided into 8 tables and began to drink. Yi Qinghan glanced at Lu Ning and found that she was also looking at him. He could not help but think, did she discover something? This Lu Ning is the top expert of the Lu clan's younger generation. I cannot kill her for now. Otherwise, I will attract a large number of experts from the Lu clan and I will be exposed. Lu Ning was also thinking, this Yi Qinghan and the Yi Qinghan of the Battle Owl Star have the same name. Their temperaments are also similar. However, the difference in cultivation level is too big. There should not be any relationship. However, why does this Yi Qinghan hate me? Ling Chen and the others also noticed the strange attitude between Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning. However, they did not join in. Instead, they took the initiative to sit in the middle. They did not want Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning to have a conflict. Perhaps because Yi Qinghan belonged to the Owl Star, they did not want him to suffer. Yi Qinghan exchanged a few more words with Zhao Wuji, and understood most of Zhao Wuji's identity. Yi Qinghan felt that he could make use of Zhao Wuji to help him deal with some matters that were inconvenient for him to deal with, so he helped Zhao Wuji solve some of his questions about martial arts. Zhao Wuji worshipped and respected Yi Qinghan even more. He would never have thought that the person in front of him was a great revered martial artist. To be able to receive a few words from Yi Qinghan was better than 10 years of bitter cultivation. Brother Ye's knowledge and understanding of the martial path makes me ashamed. If you encounter any difficulties on the Owl Star in the future, just say the word. If I can do it, I will definitely not frown. Zhao Wuji cupped his fists and said. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly and nodded. After interacting with Zhao Wuji for so long, Yi Qinghan had discovered that he was meticulous and intelligent. He was also incomparably firm on the martial path and could communicate with him. As for whether or not he could open his heart to him, Yi Qinghan would have to observe him for a while. Just when the meeting of heroes was at its most lively, a zither sound suddenly blasted through the void, penetrating the enchantment, causing everyone's blood and qi to burn. Everyone's pupils shrank as they looked outside the enchantment. The sound of the zither was filled with anger and violence, but there was also some kindness and no murderous intent. Rub, Yi Qinghan suddenly stood up and looked at the courtyard next door. He coldly said to Lu Outyan, open the barrier. Lu Outyan was shocked. He knew that the zither was played by Qin Shi Huang. He could hear the anger in the zither music. He thought, bastard, these women deserve to die. They actually bullied a child and angered this fierce wolf. Lu Outyan quickly opened the enchantment seal and looked at the courtyard next door that had turned into ruins. A group of peerless beauties were now in ragged clothes with dirt all over their faces. Yi Qinghan rushed out in a flash. He saw Qin Shi Huang hugging his zither and retreating to the side. There was a bloody handprint on his immature and flawless face. Yi Qinghan's eyes were burning with anger and killing intent. Kiki, Yi Qinghan clenched his fists tightly and arrived in front of Qin Shi Huang. Looking at the helpless Qin Shi Huang, his heart was filled with pity. Master, they slapped my face. That's why I intervened. Qin Shi Huang pursed his lips and said with a pitiful voice. Yi Qinghan was angry and helpless at the same time. You blind man. How dare you hit me? I will kill you today. A voice roared out. Everyone looked up and saw a woman crawling out from the ruins of the house. Her clothes were ragged and she looked like a beggar. At the moment, she was looking at Qin Shi Huang furiously. She pulled out her sword and rushed over. Kill him. This blind man can't be reasoned with. At the same time, more than 10 women in a sorry state pulled out their weapons and rushed toward Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang. The killing intent in their eyes was self-evident. Kill them. This is your master's order. Yi Qinghan's voice sounded like it came from hell. It was gloomy and terrifying, and it turned into ice and froze everyone. Yi Qinghan didn't like Qin Shi Huang's delicate and weak personality. He was like a little girl. How could he reach the peak with such talent and such a character? From today onwards, he had to cultivate him to be decisive in killing. There were some people and some things that didn't need to be tolerated. They could only be solved by killing. If you dare to hurt people, don't blame me for being impolite. Tang Chu took a step toward Yi Qinghan. He flipped his palm and a sharp 4th-grade spiritual sword appeared in his hand. Qin Shi Huang. You trash. Who taught you how to sneak attack others? Qin Haoran was furious. Not only did he not help his own brother, but he also claimed that Qin Shi Huang had sneakily attacked others without even knowing the situation. He even ignored the handprint on his face. Everyone, please calm down. This is the Lulan relay station, not a battlefield. Let me understand the situation first. I will deal with it myself. Lu Outyen was incomparably dignified. His dragon qi erupted. His status as the empire's crown prince made the women stop in their tracks. They looked at Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan angrily as if they were looking at dead people. Some of the elites behind these women stood out and stood side by side with Tang Chu. They looked at Yi Qinghan with hostility. Once the situation got out of hand, they would definitely attack Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang. Yi Qinghan revealed a cruel smile. He turned to Lu Outyen and said, Brother Outyen, if you can't give me an explanation for what happened today, then don't blame me for starting a massacre. Fine. I will not be biased. Otherwise, where will the glory of my Lulan Empire go? Where will I, Lu Outyen, put my face? Since ancient times, no one has ever dared to cause trouble in the meeting of heroes. This is my first meeting of heroes, and it's really a joke. Lu Outyen's eyes flashed with a cold flame. He glanced at the women. He understood that today's matter was definitely not started by Qin Shi Huang. Qin Shi Huang had a weak personality. He definitely couldn't help but make a move. Tang Chu, come back. Today's matter must be handled according to the rules. No one is allowed to be biased. If Xiao Yu and the others are at fault, then you can't stop Brother Lu from punishing them. Otherwise, if you think you can bully others with your numbers, then don't blame me for being ruthless. Zhao Wuji suddenly stood up and said coldly. Zhao Wuji chose to side with Yi Qinghan. Obviously, he chose to help Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath and coldly looked at the crowd. Finally, his eyes locked onto Qin Haoran. There was no need to hide his killing intent. Qin Haoran, which eye of yours saw my son sneak attacking others? You better give me an explanation today. Otherwise, don't blame me for killing you. Yi Qinghan coldly asked. What a joke. How could I, as his older brother, not know the ability of this trash Qin Shi Huang? If he didn't sneak attack others, how could he put Xiao Yu and the others in such a difficult situation? Qin Haoran disdainfully mocked. You're courting death. Yi Qinghan was furious. He didn't need this so-called older brother. Qin Shi Huang was one of his people. He definitely wouldn't allow others to bully him. Boom, Yi Qinghan twisted the ground with the tip of his foot. The ground shattered. His fist turned into a thunderbolt and fiercely smashed towards Qin Haoran. Qin Haoran was shocked. He couldn't dodge Yi Qinghan's attack at such a close distance. He could only erupt with his strongest combat strength. His true yuan poured out. The majestic true yuan attached to his fist and fiercely collided with Yi Qinghan's fist. Yi Qinghan twisted his waist and fiercely rotated his fist. In an instant, he exploded with 10 times the strength. The sharp true yuan was like a lightning bolt that could destroy anything. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, how could Qin Haoren's body be Yi Qinghan's opponent? In such a hurry, he didn't even use half of his strength. He was directly sent flying by Yi Qinghan's fist. Ah! Qin Haoren only felt a sharp pain in his right arm. Flesh and blood splattered on his fist, revealing the blood and bones. He retreated more than 10 steps and crashed into the wall, kneeling on the ground. You bastard! You actually sneak attacked me. As expected, a great master produces a great disciple. You only know how to sneak attack. Qin Haoren's face was pale. He half knelt on the ground. His right arm was twisted. Blood continuously dripped down, wetting the ground. Tang Chu and the others ridiculed. Yi Qinghan didn't declare a battle and launched a sneak attack. There was no need to investigate. It was obvious that Qin Shi took the initiative to launch a sneak attack. That was why all the female cultivators were in such a difficult situation. Is that so? I only know how to launch sneak attacks. Then I will launch a sneak attack once. I will let you understand what a sneak attack is. Yi Qinghan sneered. Just as he was about to attack, he saw Lu Outyan standing between the two of them. Lu Outyan's expression was very ugly. Brother Yi, can you allow me to handle this? Lu Outyan suppressed his anger. He could explode at any time. Lu Ning looked at the so-called meeting of heroes. She couldn't help but sneer. Everyone saw it. However, she pushed all the blame onto Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi. She thought that the two of them made Owl Falling Star lose face. Get out of the meeting of heroes. Fuck, you only know how to launch sneak attacks. What kind of elite are you? That's right. Prince, Ancient Sword King, Owl Falling Star King, you want to change the atmosphere of our Owl Falling Stars heroes. How can this kind of people be qualified to participate in the meeting of heroes? Qin Haoren and Tang Chu's friends spoke out one after another. They blamed Yi Qinghan together. Shut up, all of you. Pa. Hua, Ling Chen slammed his palm on the table. The sandalwood table shattered, turning into fine powder. Qi spread out in all directions. The aura of a king shrouded, controlling the atmosphere of the entire relay station. Everyone no longer said anything. The atmosphere was extremely oppressive. Only Lu Ning revealed a faint mocking expression. This made the people of Owl Falling Star feel even more disgusted with Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi. Qin Shi, tell me, why did you suddenly attack? Lu Outyan looked at the 5-finger mark on Qin Shi face. He was extremely angry and asked coldly. They forced me to drink wine. I didn't drink, so they suddenly slapped me. They wanted me to kneel down. That's why I attacked. Qin Shi hugged his zither tightly and retreated to Yi Qinghan's side. It seemed that only the zither and Yi Qinghan could give him a sense of security. Xiao Yu, is what he said true? You girls in your 20s, with the cultivation of the bitter sea stage and above, actually bullied a 13-year-old child. And he can't even see. Has your Dao heart been eaten by dogs? Lu Outyan angrily berated. He did not show any favoritism because of the family behind them. Brother Lu, isn't it a bit biased to believe one person's words? Can Qin Shi words be completely trusted? Why don't you ask Xiao Yu and the others what the real situation is? Xian Wuyu indifferently said. Yi Qinghan was indifferent and did not say anything. Seeing Xian Wuyu and the others deliberately showing favoritism to these girls, he clenched his fists. He was prepared to use his own method to resolve this matter. Chapter 75. Xiao Yu and the other female cultivators were scared out of their wits by Lu Outyan's aura. Their faces were pale, but when they saw Xian Wuyu, Tang Chu, and the others working together, they immediately became fearless and glared at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi. This blind man doesn't know what's good for him. We saw that he was still a child and gave him some spirit wine. Not only did he not appreciate it, he even insulted us. I couldn't help but teach him a lesson. I didn't expect him to sneak attack us. Xiao Yu complained first, pushing all the blame to Qin Shi Huang. That's right, we can testify for Sister Xiao Yu. The rest of the female cultivators echoed, confirming Qin Shi Huang's crime. I didn't. You didn't give me spirit wine at all, it was turbid wine. You were talking behind my back, trying to embarrass me. I heard it all. Master, I didn't lie. Qin Shi Huang clenched his teeth and said. Hee, this is really fun. I didn't expect the meeting of heroes to be like this. Lu Ning sneered, making Lu Outyen and the others even more unsightly. The atmosphere in the relay station became extremely oppressive. Yi Qinghan's aura was extremely cold. If Qin Shi Huang's words couldn't be trusted, then no one in the entire universe could. Zither Immortal Crimson Demon Physique had an extremely high requirement for the purity of one's soul. Xiao Yu relied on her family and Tang Chu's support to be arrogant. With the cooperation of the other female cultivators, she was confident that Lu Outyen couldn't do anything to her. She even wanted to punish Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan to vent their anger. You really think I can't find out who's lying? This is the meeting of heroes, it won't be conducted according to the Empire's laws. If you're lying, you better admit it now. Otherwise, when I find out, your family won't be able to protect you. Lu Outyen was incomparably angry. He coldly glanced at the female cultivators. He found that many of them didn't care and stood to the side. They didn't want to offend Tang Chu and Xiao Yu. If they didn't testify for them, then they wouldn't be able to testify for Qin Shi Huang. It started to drizzle, but no one dared to use Zhen Yuan to protect their body, letting the rain fall on their body. Lu Ning leaned back in her chair and supported her head with her right hand. She looked down at everyone and the smile on her face was unbearable for the people of Owl Falling Star. Let me ask you one thing. Who dares to lie to me? Even if your ancestors come, they won't be able to protect you. Ling Chen looked down at the crowd. His sharp gaze seemed to be able to see through their souls. Xiao Yu's body trembled. She couldn't help but look at Tang Chu. However, she received a nod from Tang Chu, which made her even more confident. Who started the conflict between the Qin Emperor and Xiao Yu? Ling Chen's aura exploded as he coldly scolded. It's Emperor Qin. Xiao Yu and the others paused for a moment. Looking at the resolute gazes of Tang Chu, Xian Wuyu, and the others, they pointed at Qin Shi Huang in unison. Qin Shi Huang, what do you have to say? Ling Chen asked coldly. I'm not lying. It was these people who teamed up to mess with me, Qin Huang replied. Good. Since all of you have your own opinions, it means that one of you is determined to lie to me and doesn't put me, Zero Chen, in your eyes. Ling Chen laughed evilly. His fingertip trembled and a broken dragon blade appeared in his hand. It emitted a cold aura that intimidated everyone. Yi Qinghan was still indifferent. Since Ling Chen and Lu Outyen wanted to find out the truth, he was naturally happy that he didn't have to do anything himself. Furthermore, he believed that the Qin Emperor wasn't wrong. Let them investigate first. If they couldn't find anything, then he would have to do something himself. Xiao Yu and the others were terrified, but they still pretended as if nothing had happened. However, they couldn't escape the eyes of Yi Qinghan, Ling Chen, and the others. I promise, whoever is willing to tell the truth today, I will take her as my personal maid. Absolutely no one will dare to take revenge on you or the family behind you. I will even support the family behind you. Ling Chen made a promise that made countless women on the Owl Falling Star go crazy. It shocked many of them. Xiao Yu's face turned pale. She noticed that some people were starting to get restless. She couldn't help but look at Tang Chu. Tang Chu glanced at everyone. His eyes flickered as he signaled some people to control the women behind them and stop talking nonsense. Wu Yu was also exerting pressure. Even Qin Haoran didn't want to help the Qin Emperor. He couldn't wait to kill the Qin Emperor this time. Wu Yu, Tang Chu, and the others were powerful. Together with Qin Haoran and the others, they were enough to stand shoulder to shoulder with Ling Chen. For a moment, none of the female cultivators dared to talk nonsense. Moreover, only a few of them knew the truth. After all, it was a small group of people who came up with the idea to trick the Qin Emperor. Ling Chen and Lu Outyan didn't expect such a result. They both took out their weapons and looked down at everyone, emitting a terrifying aura. There is a kind of heart demon in this world. It can trigger the deepest memories in the sea of bitterness and make people tell the truth in front of everyone. It is called the sincerity heart demon. Yi Qinghan's voice was hoarse. He looked down at Xiao Yu and said in a low voice, "And I can trigger your heart demon and make you tell the truth." What a joke! Who are you trying to scare? If you have the ability, show me your heart demon. Wu Yu sneered. He stood between Yi Qinghan and Xiao Yu, not allowing Yi Qinghan to get close to them. No matter how powerful he was, he couldn't use it. Yi Qinghan, as his master, you didn't teach your disciple a lesson when he made a mistake. Instead, you blamed Xiao Yu and the others. Xiao Yu alone can lie, but can these dozens of female cultivators also lie? Tang Chu asked coldly. Yi Qinghan sneered. He tried his best to control his emotions. He didn't want to expose the existence of the heavy berserk blade in front of Lu Ning, but summoned the blood thorn. Master, I can make them tell the truth. The Qin Emperor hugged his zither tightly, afraid that Yi Qinghan would get into a conflict with the others and be beaten up. Xiao Yu and the others laughed. A 13-year-old child, and in the blood ignition realm. Can he make these bitter sea stage people tell the truth? Can he control them? Try it first. If it doesn't work, I won't let anyone bully you. Yi Qinghan said coldly. Don't be so soft and weak in the future. Some people have to be killed. Do you understand? Oh, I understand. The Qin Emperor was encouraged. His face was red and he was excited. In this world, there was finally someone who could protect him unconditionally. Even his grandfather Qining would ignore his thoughts because of the Qin family. Tang Chu, back off. Otherwise, don't blame me for not giving you face. Ling Chen said coldly. Lu Outyan and Zhao Wuji stood out at the same time, exerting pressure. Tang Chu and the others immediately felt threatened. They didn't want to fall out with Ling Chen and the others, so they could only back off to the side. However, they were always on guard against Yi Qinghan. If Yi Qinghan dared to attack, they would definitely attack. The Qin Emperor's tender and delicate body didn't care about the ground at all. He sat cross-legged on the ground and spread out his zither. His 5 jade-like fingers gently plucked the strings. The sound of nature moved people's souls. Lu Ning's body suddenly sat up straight, staring at the Qin Emperor. Her eyes were filled with shock and joy. Hum hum hum, the soul-stirring sound of the zither was like the sound of nature, attacking everyone's souls directly. Some people with unstable Dao hearts lost their defense and completely lost control. These elites' expressions changed as they tried their best to resist the invasion of the zither sound. Tang Chu even shouted, causing Xiao Yu and the others to stagger and almost fall down. Tang Chu, do you want to fight with me? Ling Chen threatened. Tang Chu's expression changed and he didn't say anything. If Xiao Yu and the others still couldn't resist the attack of the Qin Emperor's zither sound, they would have to give up. Buzz buzz buzz, the melody was melodious and charming. The Qin Emperor was like a zither fairy. His tender face revealed a dignified aura that couldn't be blasphemed. The zither sound was pure and holy, purifying all evil. Xiao Yu and the others were sweating profusely as they clenched their teeth and resisted. Alcade evil suppressing zither song. Isn't this the famous song of the ancient Zither Emperor, the incomplete emperor? It has been lost for a long time. How can this little guy play it? Why does he sound like a girl? Lu Ning's pupils contracted slightly as she gazed at the side of the Qin Emperor's face. It was pure white and flawless. He was wearing a tight purple battle robe. He was about 160 centimeters tall. The hair on his temples reached his shoulders and swayed in the wind. The Qin Emperor's 5 fingers plucked the zither faster and faster, attacking the souls of the female practitioners. The sweat on his forehead soaked his black hair and dripped onto his clothes. Yet, he still clenched his teeth and resisted. Break them one by one. Yi Qinghan couldn't help but remind with a frown when he saw the Qin Emperor attacking so many people at the same time. The Qin Emperor's eyes brightened. The melody changed abruptly and became more vigorous. It turned into a forceful melody and attacked a weaker female practitioner beside Xiaoyu. The female practitioner was attacked by the Qin Emperor alone. The defense of her Dao heart was broken, and her soul collapsed instantly. Ah, no. I was wrong. I shouldn't have lied. The good-looking female practitioner retreated in fear with her hair disheveled. Buzz, the Qin Emperor's 10 fingers burst out at the same time. A strange melody rushed towards the woman. The birthmark on his right palm burst out with golden light. Then, as the Qin Emperor's true essence was exhausted and his soul was exhausted, he disappeared again. However, the woman didn't have it easy either. She retreated like a lunatic and kept scratching her ears and cheeks. She begged for mercy in fear as if she was frightened. Lu Outyen reached out and grabbed her. He asked coldly, "Did you target the Qin Emperor and play tricks on him?" "Yes. Yes. Sorry, I was wrong. It's all Xiaoyu and Han Meyer's fault. They were the ones who wanted to play tricks on the Qin Emperor. We were just cooperating." The woman was terrified and tears flowed down her face. Xiaoyu and a disheveled woman beside her trembled. They shouted, "Blind, what evil method did you use to control her? She's not normal anymore. She's talking nonsense. She's obviously being controlled. Demonic arts. She learned such a vicious technique at such a young age to control people's hearts. If we don't enforce justice on behalf of the heavens, how can we face the living beings of the world?" Tang Chu scolded coldly. "Bastard! How can a trash like you appear in the Qin clan? You don't learn good things, but you learn these demonic arts from some dubious people. Today, I'm going to clean up the clan. So that you don't embarrass yourself again." Qin Haoran was furious. His right arm had recovered because of the spirit pill. He immediately said coldly. No one thought that Tang Chu and the others would lie with their eyes wide open. At this point, they still wanted to throw dirty water at Yi Qinghan and the Qin Emperor. Ha ha ha. Yi Qinghan laughed wildly. He looked at everyone coldly. He pulled up the soft and boneless Qin Emperor and said coldly, "Master will tell you today. Since you can't reason with him, then use your fists to do the talking." Chapter 76. A frivolous voice, incomparably arrogant, filled with murderous aura, piercing through the inn, causing the surrounding 1,000 meters to fall into a deathly silence. What's going on? Why is there such a strong murderous aura at the meeting of heroes? Everyone in the inn looked at each other, discussing spiritedly. Let's go and take a look, something seems to have happened at the meeting of heroes. Looks like they are fighting. Ha ha ha, this is the moment I've been waiting for. This meeting of heroes will be lively, I've been looking forward to this moment. Close to 100 experts of the bitter sea level and above rushed towards the center of the inn, their faces filled with schadenfreude. Many of them were filled with battle intent, ready to fight. The center of the inn was instantly surrounded, the enchantment was gone. A group of people looked at the people of the meeting of heroes, discovering that the blood stinger in Yi Qinghan's hand was emitting a sinister blood aura, looking coldly at everyone with the Qin Emperor. Who is this guy? Damn, he wants to fight against the heroes of the world alone. His cultivation is so low, he is actually a rookie who just broke into the bitter sea stage. How can he participate in the meeting of heroes? A rookie in the early stages of the bitter sea stage is bringing a little kid in the blood ignition stage to provoke everyone, and the opponents are Xian Wuyu and Tang Chu. Is this guy looking for death? Everyone was shocked, and mocked one after another. That kid seems to be wearing the clothes of the Qin family. Why is Qin Haoran not helping him, but standing on the opposite side? I guess the kid made a mistake and caused everyone to be angry. Some people who did not know the truth began to make wild guesses, causing Yi Qinghan to turn around and glare. Instantly, there was complete silence. Since reason does not make sense, then use the most primitive method, fight. Since it is the meeting of heroes, no one is afraid of death. Let's take the next step, see you on the martial arts field. Lu Outyan said coldly. Wait, Yi Qinghan, since you are incompetent, then give up your disciple. I want this kid, I will make the decision for him. Lu Ning slowly stood up, staring at the pure Qin emperor, and said disdainfully. This matter has nothing to do with you, are you worthy to be his master? Yi Qinghan asked coldly. Ignorant brat, it's not up to you to decide if I'm worthy or not. It's up to the Qin emperor to decide. Lu Ning looked disdainfully at everyone. Her aura became fierce, and the aura of a king erupted, suppressing all the heroes of the Owl Falling Star. She then looked down at Qin Shihuang and said indifferently, Qin Shihuang, I am Lu Ning, the princess of the Lu clan, a 5th-grade great clan. I am at the peak of the 9 stars of the Bitter Sea realm, and will break through to the Grotto Heaven realm at any time. I am willing to accept you as my disciple. If you are willing to follow me, I will guarantee that your Qin clan will prosper and no one will dare to bully you. Everyone was dumbfounded. No one would have thought that Lu Ning would snatch a disciple at this time. Moreover, she was snatching a blind person. It simply overturned everyone's worldview. Qin Haoran's face was filled with anger and jealousy. It was one thing for the Qin clan patriarch, Qin Ning, to help the Qin emperor, but Yi Qinghan had actually accepted this blind man as his disciple. Now, Lu Ning was actually trying to snatch him away in front of everyone. What was he? He's just a blind man with poor talent and poor battle prowess. He doesn't even have the slightest bit of manliness. What right does he have to suppress me in everything? Many people looked at Qin Shihuang with envy. Even the elites were jealous. Why didn't Lu Ning extend an olive branch to them? Damn, this blind man is so lucky. He actually attracted the admiration of a king from a rich and powerful family. Why didn't this happen to me? Could it be that Lu Ning likes young men? Some of the youths outside shook their heads and sighed in jealousy. Lu Ning was at the peak of the Bitter Sea realm and was also an invincible king. She might even be stronger than Zero Chen. How could she not hear them? She immediately became angry and shouted coldly, whoever dares to talk nonsense again, don't blame me for destroying you. When Lu Ning was angry, everything became silent. No one dared to say anything. Her character of bullying the weak and fearing the strong was comparable to that of the parrot. Fortunately, no one knew where the parrot went. Otherwise, there would definitely be a good show to watch today. Qin Shihuang, do you choose Yi Qinghan or me? As long as you are a smart person, you should know how to choose. Lu Ning stared at Qin Shihuang. She discovered that he was actually pulling Yi Qinghan's clothes tightly. She couldn't help but frown. I, Qin Shihuang, only have one teacher in my life, and that is him. Qin Shihuang replied with certainty. Yi Qinghan grinned. Although Qin Shihuang was a bit weak, he was still very resolute in matters of right and wrong. If Qin Shihuang betrayed him today, that would be really embarrassing. Idiot! You are incurable. I don't think you will have much of a future in this life. I don't want to take you in. Lu Ning was furious and mocked him. You are really an incurable trash. If the Qin family is in your hands, it will fall sooner or later. Qin Haoren saw that Qin Shihuang did not hesitate to reject Lu Ning and became even angrier. His anger completely exploded. Pa! A crisp slap sounded in all directions. Qin Haoren spun a few times. He was hit until he was dizzy and confused. You are the real trash. If you dare to talk nonsense again and humiliate Qin Shihuang, I don't mind sending you to hell. Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and returned to his original position. It was as if he had not moved at all. Hiss! Ling Chen and Lu Ning sucked in a breath of cold air. They did not see how Yi Qinghan attacked and how he returned to his original position. This speed was beyond their imagination. Qin Haoren was stunned. His body was trembling with anger. He roared angrily, "You bastard, other than sneak attacks, what else can you do? Your disciples are also shameless. What a pair of bastards. Is that so? Even if I didn't sneak attack, what can you do to me?" Yi Qinghan's lips curled up as he asked disdainfully. You. Qin Haoren was furious. He was about to mock Yi Qinghan, but his eyes met with Yi Qinghan's emotionless eyes. It was as if he was burned by the cold flames in Yi Qinghan's eyes. His pupils shrank and he did not dare to say another word. Trash will always be trash. I can't be bothered to bicker with you. But remember, from today onwards, Qin Shihuang is my disciple. If you dare to say another word about him, I'll rip your head off. Yi Qinghan warned coldly. At this moment, in front of all the heroes of Owl Falling Star, Qin Haoren, as one of the top 10 existences of the younger generation, was humiliated like this. How could he stand it? He was about to explode and fight to the death with Yi Qinghan, but was stopped by Ling Chen. Today is the meeting of heroes. The people who destroyed the meeting of heroes have not been punished. Don't make trouble. If you have something to say it on the martial arts stage. Use your fists to speak. Ling Chen said in a low voice. Tang Chu and the others sneered. In terms of martial strength, they had so many experts. Would they be afraid of Yi Qinghan and Qin Shihuang? Moreover, Qin Shihuang's battle strength was negligible. Yi Qinghan was also at the 1 star of the Bitter Sea stage. What was the point of being fast? Xian Wuyu alone was enough to suppress them. Okay, let's go to the martial arts stage. Today, my women have been humiliated like this. There must be an explanation. Tang Chu said in a muffled voice, flicking his sleeves and leaving with Xiao Yu. Xiao Yu was incomparably arrogant. Before leaving, she swept a provocative glance at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shihuang. The murderous intent and hatred in her eyes was self-evident. Yi Qinghan put his arm around Qin Shihuang's shoulder, his large hand touching his forehead, and whispered, "Don't make a sound. I'll pass on a martial technique to you. It's called the Absorbing Soul Roar. It's a grade 5 martial technique. Integrate it into the zither and use the zither to attack. Later, kill those women for me." Qin Shihuang's heart thumped wildly, his face and ears turning red. When he heard that he was going to kill people, he was first taken aback. Then, he felt Yi Qinghan's cold aura and nodded gravely. Your personality is too soft. That's why so many people bully you. Next time, whoever bullies and humiliates you, kill them directly. No matter who they are, you have to kill them even if you have to risk your life. Only in this way will others respect you and be afraid of you. Do you understand? Yi Qinghan continued to instruct. He clearly wanted to cultivate Qin Shihuang into a madman like him. Qin Shihuang did not hesitate, choosing to believe in Yi Qinghan. He continued to nod, his breathing quickening. The square of Flaming Cloud City, with a radius of 1,000 meters, was a huge martial arts stage. It was usually used for competitions between clans. It could withstand the attacks of the peak of the Bitter Sea stage. At this moment, it was surrounded by the Fire Qilin army. Cultivators below the Bitter Sea stage could not come near. Only those at the bitter sea stage had the qualifications to come and watch the battles of the meeting of heroes. In the audience, Tang Chu looked down at everyone. His battle robe fluttered in the wind, incomparably arrogant. "Xiao Yu, when you have the chance, kill Qin Shi Huang," Tang Chu said coldly. "Ah. He is a direct descendant of the Qin clan. I'm afraid." Xiao Yu's expression changed. She was not afraid of humiliating Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan, but she did not dare to kill Qin Shi Huang. "What are you afraid of?" "I'm here. Moreover, this is the meeting of heroes. Life and death are decided by the heavens. Clans are not allowed to participate. Moreover, Qin Haoren is asking me for help." Tang Chu sneered. Looking at Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi Huang who were coming from afar, a murderous intent surged in his eyes. "Don't worry, as long as you do this well, your husband will give you everything you want. The Shao family will definitely become a third-rank family." Tang Chu's eyes shone brightly as he teased Xiao Yu with a hoarse voice. "Good. Listen to your husband. As long as you are behind me, I'm not afraid of anything." Xiao Yu's eyes lit up as she said excitedly. Tang Chu sneered and thought to himself, "Xiao Yu, you killed Qin Shi Huang. I will take care of Shao clan for you. You won't die in vain." Xiao Yu obviously did not know that Tang Chu had decided to give up on her. He wanted to use her to kill Qin Shi Huang and then kill her. Not only would he get the benefits promised by Qin Haoren, but he would also not draw the flames of war to himself. Killing two birds with one stone. Tang Chu was a smart person. He obviously would not offend the huge Qin clan for a small Xiao Yu. This was the scheme of an official's disciple. Ling Chen and Wang Shizhi came to the judges' stand and looked down at the martial arts arena. They were prepared to control everything. As the host, Lu Outyan naturally stood at the judges' stand. Zhao Wuji came to Yi Qinghan's side and said indifferently, "Qinghan, I'll help you. Consider it as thanks for your help today." Zhao Wuji, one of the top 3 of the younger generation, stood on Yi Qinghan's side. Yi Qinghan was finally not alone. After all, Zhao Wuji's battle strength was the strongest other than the 2 emperors. Yi Qinghan smiled and nodded. Even if he did not need Zhao Wuji's help, he was touched by his attitude. After all, no one was optimistic about him and Qin Shi Huang. However, Zhao Wuji stood up without hesitation. This was enough to explain everything. Chapter 77. There was a sea of people in the martial arts arena, the noise spreading far and wide. The majority of the people stood behind Tang Chu and Xian Wuyu, while Yi Qinghan only had the Qin Emperor and Zhao Wuji by his side. The situation had become one-sided. Tang Chu and Xian Wuyu smiled evilly, looking at Yi Qinghan with disdain. "The winner is the king, the loser is the bandit. Since you all agreed to use battle to decide who is right and who is wrong, then use your fists to do the talking," Lu Outyan said coldly. "Okay, I agree," Tang Chu said without hesitation. In his view, there was him, Qin Haoren, Xian Wuyu, Di Kong and the other top 10 experts here, while the other side only had Zhao Wuji. No matter how strong he was, he could not be stronger than a few people taking turns to fight. As for Yi Qinghan and the Qin Emperor, they were people who would definitely die and could be ignored. Yi Qinghan clenched the blood thorn and nodded. The killing intent in his eyes was restrained and could steal people's souls. "Then let's say in advance, will we fight to the death or will we stop?" Lu Outyan asked. "Fight to the death," Yi Qinghan coldly replied. Everyone was taken aback. They did not expect Yi Qinghan to be even stronger than Tang Chu and the others. He actually chose to fight to the death. Lu Outyan suddenly frowned. Was he courting death? The other side had so many people, even if they used their heads, they could exhaust the 3 of them to death. Moreover, the Qin Emperor was still a child, and Yi Qinghan was a one-star bitter sea stage rookie. Ling Chen also frowned. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be so impulsive. However, he did not step out to stop him. As a king, he must be impartial, otherwise how could he convince the masses? Lu Ning sneered, thinking, since you want to die, then die. But I will definitely take this disciple. When you die and the Qin Emperor is seriously injured, it will be the time for me to act. Tang Chu and the others laughed. Qin Haoran did not conceal his killing intent at all. His hatred for the Qin Emperor had obviously reached an unsuppressible level. Ying Feng retreated to the side, choosing to remain neutral. Up until now, he was the only one who knew Yi Qinghan's true combat strength. If they truly fought, it was unknown who would emerge victorious. As a rogue cultivator, Zhao Wuji had always been a lone ranger. He had no friends at all. At this moment, no one was willing to help. At this moment, the situation was very awkward. The three of them were fighting against nearly 20 experts, and 4 of them were ranked in the top 10. This was an unequal fight. Yi Qinghan was arrogant and showed no signs of fear. He said to Qin Shihuang in a low voice, "You fuse the martial techniques first. I will buy you some time." The Qin Emperor nodded seriously and replied, "Be careful, master. Be careful. We'll fight one by one and take turns to rest. If you can't hold on, don't force yourself. With your cultivation level, no one has the right to laugh at you." Zhao Wuji reminded in a deep voice. "Don't worry, I will make them pay the price today. I will use blood to tell them that no one can trample on my people." Yi Qinghan's voice was deep and hoarse. He walked directly to the center of the training field with the blood thorn in his hand. His black hair flew behind him and his battle robe fluttered in the wind. His bleak figure made people feel stubbornness and arrogance. His back seemed to be telling the vicissitudes of life, making people's hearts tremble. Lu Ning squinted her eyes and looked at Yi Qinghan's back. Her heart trembled. She took a step back and said in a low voice, "Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. His back is too similar. But he has already died in battle. Yi Qinghan, how long are you going to torture me? Why is there a man who looks so much like you here? Your temperament, aura, and your unruly character, your disdainful eyes, your vicissitudes of life, they appear in my mind all the time. Do you still remember the king naming competition 5 years ago? Ever since I saw you for the first time, I knew that no one would be able to shake my heart in this life. But the weather is unpredictable. You have offended 3 big shots of Owl Dragon region, hundreds of great revered martial artists. I have the will but not the power." Lu Ning's eyes were filled with a layer of mist. Looking at Yi Qinghan's back, she no longer despised him. Instead, there was a different kind of emotion. No one cared about the change in Lu Ning's mood. They were all shocked by Yi Qinghan's back. The tyranny and indifference that came from his back made people gasp in admiration. Is this person really at the 1 star of the bitter sea stage? Why do I feel like I'm looking at an old monster that has lived for thousands of years? The spectators asked in surprise. I also have this feeling. Looking at his back, I feel like I can see the existence of the Dao. What is going on? The crowd did not understand, and Lu Ning did not understand even more. Being shaken by Yi Qinghan's back, she was dizzy and almost fell down. The difference between Lu Ning and Yi Qinghan in their previous life was very large. They could only silently admire each other. In this life, they did not know each other. But if she recognized him, Yi Qinghan would absolutely not let her go. He would not hesitate to kill her, even if he had to use all his resources to kill her. Yi Qinghan stood in the center, pointing his sword at Tang Chu. He said in a cold voice, "Send someone to die. Today, I will kill Xiao Yu and the others until they admit their mistakes. Otherwise, you will be buried with them for their mistakes." Crazy. Arrogant. Cold. Heartless. Now Yi Qinghan could only be described with such adjectives. An existence of 1 star of the Bitter Sea stage had declared war against more than 10 existences of 7 stars of the Bitter Sea stage and above. Moreover, he spoke such arrogant words that people did not dare to mock him. Tang Chu's face changed slightly, and then he disdained. Such an existence was not worthy of him to take action. Xian Wuyu was also too lazy to take action. He just wanted Yi Qinghan to die. It did not matter who killed him. The most important thing was that they had to guard against Zhao Wuji going crazy. Tai Tianlong, you go and kill this reckless guy. Tang Chu said coldly to an expert of 6 stars of the Bitter Sea stage behind him. Tai Tianlong was 2 meters tall and weighed 200 kilograms. He was a man of iron and was as strong as a black bear. He was absolutely the most powerful existence in the body refining school. At this moment, looking at Yi Qinghan, his eyes were full of disdain. Don't worry, such a rookie, I can crush him to death with 1 hand. Tai Tianlong was incomparably arrogant. Carrying a sledgehammer that weighed 500 kilograms, he stepped into the center of the martial arts practice field. The slate on the ground was shaking. Boom, 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 Tai Tianlong moved forward like a mountain cannon. Every step he took made people panic. He deserved to be ranked in the top 30 on the Owl Fall star. With his body alone, once he got close to the 9 stars of the Bitter Sea, he could crush him to death. Yi Qinghan's pupils flashed coldly, and he let Tai Tianlong come closer. Zhao Wuji was shocked, but he could not warn him. After all, this was a fair fight to the death. Tai Tianlong's body was unparalleled. Within 10 meters, he could attack. Even Zhao Wuji would not allow him to come closer. Otherwise, even if he won, both of them would suffer. The two were 30 meters apart. Yi Qinghan still did not launch an attack. Instead, he held the bloody thorn calmly and waited for him to come. This guy is too arrogant. He dares to let Tai Tianlong come close to him like this. He's dead. As long as Tai Tianlong comes closer by 10 meters, even if his martial arts are incredible, he can't reverse the situation. No one was optimistic about Yi Qinghan. They all opened their eyes and waited for Tai Tianlong to tear Yi Qinghan apart. Boom, 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 Tai Tianlong ran wildly like a giant tiger, rolling up the airflow and roaring the wind. He was very powerful. 15 meters. Tai Tianlong swung the sledgehammer. Like a meteor catching up with the moon, his body moved forward 7 or 8 meters in an instant. He rushed to the front of Yi Qinghan in the twinkling of an eye. The sledgehammer rubbed against Yi Qinghan's head with flames coming out. Ah, the crowd screamed. Even a 4th-class ferocious beast would die on the spot under this hammer. Yi Qinghan's weak body was likely to be smashed into meat paste. Whoosh, boom, a figure cut across the martial arts practice field. Then, the mountain-like sledgehammer hit the martial arts practice field and shook it. The underground formation burst out, emitting colorful light, and blocked the devastating attack of the sledgehammer. Tai Tianlong stared blankly for a moment before realizing that Yi Qinghan was nowhere to be seen. Alarmed, he swung the hammer behind him. Humph! A cold snort spread all over the martial arts practice field. The gloomy blood thorn, like thunder and lightning, was unstoppable and directly penetrated Tai Tianlong's right waist. Tai Tianlong screamed. His waist shrank to the left subconsciously. His right leg was on the ground and he lost his center of gravity. Yi Qinghan smiled coldly. He lifted his foot and kicked the outside of Tai Tianlong's right knee. With a crisp crack, Tai Tianlong's bucket-thick thigh broke and he fell to the ground directly. Ah! Although Tai Tianlong screamed and roared after falling to the ground, he didn't completely give up his defense. He swung the sledgehammer toward Yi Qinghan. Swish, Yi Qinghan's figure flashed and retreated more than 10 meters. He looked at Tai Tianlong coldly and waited for him to stand up with the corners of his mouth raised. It was too fast. It only took them a blink of an eye from the beginning to the end of the fight. Lu Ning's eyes were like torches. She saw that the cultivation method Yu Qinghan used was the ethereal fairy commonly used by big families in the endless universe. But only big families could afford it. After all, it was a secret skill of the top third rank. It was comparable to the existence of the fourth rank. Stand up and kill him. Tang Chu roared. But Tai Tianlong felt that his right leg was no longer his own. The sharp pain made his divine awareness disordered and sleepy. Now he could only force himself to stay awake. He held the sledgehammer in one hand and supported the ground with the other, moving backward constantly. Yu Qinghan looked at Tai Tianlong indifferently and didn't kill him. If he had wanted to kill him just now, he would have had the chance. But now he was just stalling for time to give Emperor Qin more time to integrate the soul-absorbing roar. Stand up. I'm not interested in killing a man lying on the ground, Yu Qinghan said coldly. Tai Tianlong gritted his teeth. The bloody hole in his waist kept spurting blood. His leg bones were twisted. He might not even be able to stand up, let alone fighting capacity. Seeing the killing intent in Yu Qinghan's eyes, Tai Tianlong was a little frightened and said hurriedly, I admit defeat. But this was a fight to the death. It was useless to beg for mercy, because Yu Qinghan already had the intention to kill him. What was more, if Yu Qinghan was pale, he might have died already. Admit defeat. This is a fight to the death. From the moment you came on the stage, you should know that death has come. Yu Qinghan held the bloody thorn and stepped on Tai Tianlong. Yu Qinghan, you're too arrogant. Tai Tianlong has admitted defeat. What else do you want? Tang Chu scolded coldly. This is called arrogance. Then I'll show you what real arrogance is. Yu Qinghan asked in reply. He held the sword and stabbed at Tai Tianlong. Tai Tianlong was wrapped by the virtual shadow and couldn't be distinguished from the real one. He had nowhere to hide. Chapter 78. The martial arts arena was dead silent, without the slightest sound. Thousands of people were staring at the center of the battlefield. Wang Shizhi and Ling Chen, the two great kings, were standing on the side, ready to fight at any time. No one could intervene in this battle. The martial arts arena was dyed red. After Tai Tianlong's last blow, he directly threw the iron hammer at Yu Qinghan. Unfortunately, Yu Qinghan's figure flashed, evading it. Yu Qinghan seemed to be disorderly with his sword, but in fact he was using the sword as a blade. The 12 moves of the blade technique were like moving clouds and flowing water, leaving nearly 100 scars on Tai Tianlong's body. Tai Tianlong was almost dismembered, his arm was cut off, and his pupils shot out a look of horror, despair, and resentment before he died. The iron hammer was thrown more than 10 meters away, looking extremely brutal. The crowd had never seen such a way of killing. Yu Qinghan almost used the most torturous means, leaving more than 100 scars on Tai Tianlong's body, draining his blood. Until the last moment, Tai Tianlong exploded and died on the spot, tasting the pain and despair of the human world. Swoosh! Yu Qinghan kicked away Tai Tianlong's body, majestically, extremely arrogantly, pointing his sword at Tang Chu, he said in a cold voice, Do you see? This is called fighting to the death. This was called provocation. With the power of one person, he provoked the heroes of Owl Falls Star. So what if it was Tang Chu? So what if it was Yu Wuyu? He looked down on him with his sword. All the people at the lower level of the Bitter Sea stage felt their blood boiling. This was called truly invincible among the same level. One star of the Bitter Sea stage had crushed Tai Tianlong at close range. But no one applauded, no one dared to sweep away the face of Yu Wuyu and Tang Chu on such an occasion, but no one criticized Yu Qinghan's cruelty. After all, in a battle to the death, whoever falls down must die. To seek revenge for the smallest grievance, to be cruel and ruthless to the enemy, to protect friends and family to the extreme, this was Yu Qinghan's nature. He never thought of himself as a benevolent person. As long as it was an enemy, he would kill. Every move must see blood. Good. Good. Yu Qinghan, you have successfully angered me. Today, I'll let you understand what it means to fight to the death. Tang Chu's face was livid, and the anger in his eyes almost condensed into a solid form. He shouted to a young man who looked like a skinny monkey behind him, "Sun Ke, you go. He's just a bit faster than you, but I don't believe he can be faster than your invincible limbo. Top grade 3rd grade martial technique, unique step on the waves." When one reached the 5th star of the Bitter Sea stage and above, one could walk on the waves. It was a famous speed-type secret technique on the Owl Fall star, a secret technique unique to the Sun family. In terms of speed, other than Ling Chen, no one else was qualified. Ha ha ha, you want to compete with me in speed? I'll torture you to death today. Sun Ke had a sly smile on his face as he leveled the sky with his sword. His sword aura was like a rainbow as it transformed into lightning and thunder. His afterimages were everywhere on the martial arts field. Whoosh whoosh whoosh, the afterimages were so fast that it was impossible to distinguish the real body. After a long time, the afterimages dissipated. The onlookers were terrified and worried for Yu Qinghan. The corners of Yu Qinghan's mouth curled upwards. He was not affected by the afterimages. His eyes were closed, and his divine sense was locked onto Sun Quebec. No matter how he changed his position, he could not escape from his divine sense. His right hand trembled, and the blood thorn changed hands. He was now holding the sword in his left hand. The veins on his right hand were bulging, and his true yuan was flowing. The specks of silver light were captivating. What is he doing? Why is he holding the sword with his left hand? Is he left-handed? I don't know what he's doing, but I know that Sun Ke is playing with Yu Qinghan. Otherwise, Yu Qinghan would have died long ago. Ha ha ha, you're right. This kind of rookie does not have an advantage in speed. How can he fight with an existence above the 6th star of the Bitter Sea stage? Sun Ke's laughter resounded throughout the martial arts field, but no one could tell where Sun Ke was. Zhao Wuji clenched the sword in his hand, his fingertips moving the sword hilt, producing a crisp sword hum. Evidently, he had decided to act when Yu Qinghan was in the most danger, even if it meant offending Ling Chen. Lu Ning slowly stood up and came to the front. The crowd immediately made way for her. Sun Ke's speed was extremely fast. He circled behind Yu Qinghan and stabbed his sword. The sword chi pierced through Yu Qinghan's clothes and immediately retreated. Then he laughed again, "Ha ha ha, do you want to see Yu Qinghan running naked?" Yes. Everyone in the Tang Chu camp said in unison. They could not wait to go up and humiliate Yu Qinghan. Then I'll fulfill your wish. I'll send his clothes flying with my sword, and let him die in despair and shame. Sun Ke was rampant. He had a 4th grade yuan recovery pill in his mouth, and was not afraid of exhausting his true yuan. Yu Qinghan looked at Sun Ke's arrogance and could not help but sneer. Since he wanted to run naked, then he would let him die an even more ugly death. The Qin Emperor hugged his zither, his weak body trembling slightly. He respectfully asked Zhao Wuji, "Senior Zhao, can my master win?" "I don't know. His speed is indeed fast, but this Sun Ke's speed is even faster than mine. He is the fastest existence in the Bitter Sea stage. Unless your master still has some hidden trump cards, the chances of him losing are very high." Zhao Wuji shook his head, not optimistic about Yu Qinghan. Sun Ke sent out another sword attack, but it still did not pierce through Yu Qinghan's defense. It only sent a piece of his clothes flying, causing the crowd to laugh and laugh. Yu Qinghan did not move at all. His divine sense was constantly tracking Sun Ke's movements, preparing to kill him in one blow, leaving him no room to fight back. Ling Chen glanced over and saw Lu Ning beside him. He asked, "Who do you think will die, fellow Lu?" "Yi Qinghan." Lu Ning replied without hesitation. Why do you say that? Until now, Yi Qinghan should still have some hidden trump cards. Ling Chen asked curiously. If he had some hidden trump cards, why would he go through so much trouble? He has clearly given up. Lu Ning said disdainfully. Nonsense. My master will not lose. Qin Shi Huang hugged his zither tightly and stared angrily at Lu Ning. The birthmark on his palm started to heat up. The faint golden light was covered by his long robe, not revealing his special constitution. Stinky brat, if not for your pure heart, would I even like you? What right does this kind of trash have to be your master? Lu Ning clenched her teeth and scolded him in disappointment. Shut up. You are not allowed to scold my master. Qin Shi Huang's aura turned cold as he said fiercely. Qin Shi Huang's youthful and pure face was extremely pitiful. He did not look like a person who could be ruthless. Now, even if he was ruthless, he gave off a demonic aura. Ignorant. Lu Ning was flustered and exasperated, but there was nothing she could do. She loved and hated Qin Shi Huang's bad temper. In the center of the martial arts arena, Sun Ke once again burst out with a terrifying speed. He was about to stab out for the third time. Lu Ning's finger trembled and a silver scale whip appeared in her hand. She lifted her leg and was about to shoot it into the center of the martial arts arena. What are you doing? Ling Chen's figure flashed and the broken dragon blade sliced through the air, blocking Lu Ning. Sun Ke can humiliate Yi Qinghan's body, but he cannot humiliate his name. I am going to kill Yi Qinghan and end him completely. Lu Ning replied coldly. Ling Chen, get out of the way. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. No, this is an internal matter of the Owl Falling Star meeting of heroes. You cannot interfere. Other than today, I will not interfere with anything you do. Ling Chen refused decisively. Everyone was stunned. They did not expect Lu Ning to also want to kill Yi Qinghan. They could not help but sympathize with her. Just as everyone was in a daze, Sun Ke stabbed out with his sword. The tip of the sword contained a dense true energy sword qi. He was about to tear apart Yi Qinghan's clothes and make him run naked. Break! Sun Ke shouted as he became one with his sword. His unique rippling steps were displayed to the extreme. Countless figures rushed towards Yi Qinghan from all directions. Yi Qinghan also moved at this moment. His fist was covered in silver. He suddenly twisted his body and attacked towards the left. One could even clearly see the light red flame on his fist. Boom! Sun Ke's eyes were filled with fear. It was as if he was going to drill under Yi Qinghan's fist. The two of them were extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, they collided. There was no time to dodge, and his sword missed. Hua! Yi Qinghan's qi hit Sun Ke's body and tore his clothes to shreds. Not even his underwear was left. Puchi! Downward strike. He raised the sword in his left hand and directly cut off Sun Ke's right arm. Then, his right fist turned into a palm. Using the inch strike technique, he once again exploded with power. Sun Ke was pushed back dozens of steps and fell into the crowd. Sun Ke was lying naked in the middle of the crowd. His right arm had been cut off by Yi Qinghan from his shoulder. Blood poured out like a fountain, and his Dao heart was shattered. He danced around wildly as he ran through the crowd. His expression was ferocious, he had gone mad. Ah, this is impossible. Ha ha ha. I won. Did you see? Everyone retreated and made a path. Sun Ke ran to the center of the martial arts arena. He was naked for everyone to see. Lu Ning and the other female cultivators were furious. They quickly turned around. This ending was somewhat different from what everyone had expected. There was indeed someone running naked. However, it was not Yi Qinghan. It was Sun Quebec. Not only was he running naked, he was also crazy. Hiss, everyone sucked in a breath of cold air and turned to look at the running Sun Quebec. There were some doubts in their eyes. They were all attracted by Lu Ning and Ling Chen's attacks. They did not see how Yi Qinghan attacked. What's going on? This is impossible. Tang Chu was furious. He turned to look at Xian Wuyu and Qin Haoren. Obviously, he was also distracted. I didn't see. Xian Wuyu was speechless. He thought that Lu Ning and Ling Chen would have a conflict, so he diverted his attention. He did not expect that he would miss the most important part. I didn't see it either. Qin Haoren's eyes were filled with killing intent and hatred. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be able to survive this. For a moment, there was no other sound in the martial arts arena except for Sun Kei's screaming and running. Everyone looked at each other. They wanted to know how Yi Qinghan had beaten Sun Kei to such a state. Master will win. Qin Haoren could not see that Sun Kei's clothes were torn, but he knew that Sun Kei's soul was in chaos. He was completely crazy. He could not help but be overjoyed. Yi Qinghan was indifferent. He did not show any joy. It was as if he had defeated an ant. He did not know how many people's Dao heart had been shattered. Tang Chu, Qin Haoren, you sent these trash to die. Why don't you come and fight with me personally? Yi Qinghan stared at Qin Haoren. He was ready to pave the way for Qin Haoren and kill this incompetent brother of his. He said coldly, Qin Haoren, didn't you say that I only know how to sneak attack? Now fight with me openly. I will give you a chance to take revenge. Qin Haoren's breathing stagnated. He really didn't have the guts to fight with Yi Qinghan right now. He muttered a few words and then hesitated. However, he didn't have a reason to refuse. Cold sweat flowed down his forehead. Chapter 79. Yi Qinghan was crazy to the extreme, killing 2 strong enemies in a row, and finally directly declaring war on the top 10 elites. Qin Haoren did not dare to accept the challenge, which made everyone stunned and speechless. Qin Haoren was an 8-star bitter sea expert, while Yi Qinghan was only a 1-star bitter sea expert. Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Haoren's performance, and could not help but sneer, what? You don't dare. If you don't dare, you and Tang Chu can come together, and I will take it together. This is called arrogance. 1 star of the bitter sea actually challenged 2 of the top 10 experts at the same time, and in front of so many people. Unless Tang Chu and Qin Haoren were really shameless, how could they join hands to deal with Yi Qinghan? Looking for death. Lu Ning snorted contemptuously, as if she could see the scene of Yi Qinghan being slaughtered. Tang Chu and Qin Haoren's faces were ashen, looking at the crowd pointing at them, extremely angry. Tang Chu coldly glanced at Qin Haoren, and found that even though he had lost face, he was still unwilling to go on stage. Tang Chu could not help but snort, Brother Qin, he has already challenged you, do you really want to fight with me before you dare to fight? Qin Haoren's expression changed. Looking at the mocking and amused expressions of the crowd, he could not help but change his aura. A 3rd-grade spiritual sword appeared in his hand, and he said disdainfully, I was just recuperating. A 1-star bitter sea rookie dares to declare war on me, simply courting death. Yi Qinghan coldly looked at Qin Haoren. This kind of trash who had not overcome his heart demon, even if he could break into the grotto heaven realm, he would not be able to advance any further, so he did not care at all. If he was facing an 8-star bitter sea expert, Yi Qinghan would definitely not be so strong. Qin Haoren, I heard that your Haoren sword technique has reached perfection, to the point of becoming one with the sword. Show it to me. Yi Qinghan was disdainful. The Haoren sword technique required a pure heart, and only the pure Haoren chi could display the Haoren sword technique to the extreme. With Qin Haoren's stingy mentality, it would be good if he could display half of its power. As you wish. Qin Haoren was furious. No one had ever looked down on him like this since he started cultivating. Today, he had actually been mocked by Yi Qinghan, a child with an extremely low cultivation level. How could he not be angry? Whoosh, the 36 forms of the Haoren sword art. Qin Haoren's silhouette was faintly discernible. His sword moves emitted a vast sword qi that was as natural as flowing water. He was as ethereal as an immortal, causing the crowd to cheer. Unfortunately, in Yi Qinghan's eyes, such a sword move had too many flaws. There was no need to waste time. Open! Yi Qinghan roared, the blood thorn chopped out like a knife, and instantly hit Qin Haoren's Haoren sword. A third-grade martial artist against a third-grade martial artist, the aftermath spread out in all directions. An ear-piercing sound pierced through everyone's eardrums. Even an emperor like Lu Ning frowned, not to mention the others. They covered their ears and retreated, frowning. Bang! With a crisp sound, the blood thorn in Yi Qinghan's hand broke. The tip of the sword shot into the void and disappeared without a trace in the blink of an eye. Qin Haoren was after all an 8th star of the Bitter Sea. His third-grade Haoren sword was wrapped in vital essence. As he clashed with Yi Qinghan, his advantage was obvious. Seeing the blood thorn in Yi Qinghan's hand break, he could not help but sneer. Die! Whoosh whoosh whoosh. The Haoren sword qi was cold and sharp, drawing out 3 sword flowers. Like a black hole, they rolled towards Yi Qinghan. The center of the 3 sword flowers suddenly shot out a sword qi, aiming for his throat. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like torches. His figure flickered, dodging the sharpest sword qi. Throwing away the broken blood thorn, his palms slapped towards the Haoren sword from both sides. Break for me. Yi Qinghan's veins popped out, his body erupting with a terrifying power. His body leaned back, directly sticking close to Qin Haoren's body. His palms came together, clamping down on the Haoren sword. His palms crossed, suddenly exerting force. His vital essence poured out, rushing into the Haoren sword through the gap in the sword. Bang! With another ear-piercing sound of a short sword, the Haoren sword broke, shocking everyone speechless. Yi Qinghan had broken a third-grade Haoren sword with his body alone. Although there was a gap in the Haoren sword, it was still incredible. Qin Haoren's pupils shrank. He did not expect Yi Qinghan to be able to predict his movement trajectory. All of this was completely beyond his imagination. Yi Qinghan did not care whether Qin Haoren was stunned or not. He took the broken Haoren sword and stabbed it into Qin Haoren's right arm. Ah! Qin Haoren screamed in pain, the sword hilt in his hand falling to the ground. Bang! Yi Qinghan swung his fist and punched Qin Haoren's face. Qin Haoren's originally handsome face was instantly bruised and several of his teeth were knocked out. Pa pa pa! After a few consecutive slaps, Qin Haoren was completely stunned. Yi Qinghan did not intend to let Qin Haoren go. His speed was extremely fast. High whip, knee, left hook, right elbow, each attack penetrated into Qin Haoren's flesh. The fierce Shen Yuan and steel-like fists pierced Qin Haoren's soul. Qin Haoren had no chance to resist. He could only inject Shen Yuan into his arms to protect his head. He wanted to protect the fatal places and wait for an opportunity to counterattack. Kneel down for me. Yi Qinghan's vigorous body erupted with a power that could destroy everything. His hind leg kicked towards Qin Haoren's leg. With a cracking sound, Qin Haoren's body staggered and almost fell down. However, Yi Qinghan's second attack had already arrived. Bang! His iron arm turned into a heavy wild blade, with the momentum of 1,000 caddies, fiercely chopped towards Qin Haoren's head. Qin Haoren was shocked. He was powerless to escape. He could only take a step back and raise his right arm to hit Yi Qinghan's iron arm. Gotcha! Ah! Bang! Even though Qin Haoren's arm was wrapped in Zhen Yuan, it was still instantly crushed by Yi Qinghan's attack. The bones in his arm were immediately broken. A mournful scream resounded through the void, causing people to tremble. However, this was not the end. Yi Qinghan's iron arm was like a hot knife through butter. After breaking Qin Haoren's arm, there was still more than half of its strength. It smashed towards Qin Haoren's neck, causing Qin Haoren's legs to be unable to support themselves. He could only kneel down to reduce the force. Otherwise, Yi Qinghan's attack would have broken his neck. Bang! Qin Haoren, who was strong as one of the top 10 experts, knelt on the ground after 3 moves. His arms were broken and his knees were shattered. Only his left arm could still move. Yi Qinghan was majestic. He had transformed into the Eternal War Emperor. His black hair and battle robes fluttered in the wind. The entire martial arts arena was completely silent. Even if I didn't launch a sneak attack, what can you do to me? Yi Qinghan looked at Qin Haoren kneeling in front of him and asked coldly. Mr. Yi. Haoren is wrong. Please spare my life for the sake of my younger brother. Qin Haoren knelt on the ground and begged in horror. How could the dignified chief disciple of the Qin clan die in battle like this? His good days were yet to come. Now was the time to lose some people and save his life. Yi Qinghan looked down at Qin Haoren. His eyes were full of disdain when he saw Qin Haoren begging for mercy. My son, I am your brother. Quickly, beg Mr. Yi. Qin Haoren felt that Yi Qinghan's killing intent had not dissipated. Instead, it had become even stronger. He quickly begged for mercy from the Qin Emperor. The martial arts arena was dead silent. No one mocked Qin Haoren. It was an honor to be defeated by Yi Qinghan. Moreover, Qin Haoren had blocked a few moves. Wu Yuxian and Tang Chu's pupils shrank. They finally understood that Yi Qinghan had the right to be arrogant. It was reasonable for Qin Haoren to beg for mercy. After all, he was related to the Qin Emperor. Yi Qinghan would have to think twice before killing him. The Qin Emperor pursed his lips. His moon-like eyes did not waver at all. He took a step forward and stepped onto the martial arts arena. My son, I know I was wrong. But I was really thinking for the Qin clan. After today, I will make it up to you. As soon as Qin Haoren saw Qin Shihuang come out, he begged for mercy again. He knew Qin Shihuang well. Qin Shihuang had a weak temperament and lacked a sense of security. He would repay anyone who treated him well with all his heart. Therefore, he could definitely persuade Qin Shihuang by using the right remedy. Yi Qinghan saw that Qin Haoren was still lying to the Qin Emperor. His eyes were filled with killing intent. He leaned to one side and said to the Qin Emperor, My son, kill him. Yi Qinghan was ruthless enough. Not only did he want to kill Qin Haoren, but he also wanted the Qin Emperor to do it himself. He had trained him to be decisive and ruthless. Qin Haoren almost collapsed when he heard this. He knew that he could not persuade Yi Qinghan. He had to continue begging the Qin Emperor. The Qin Emperor hesitated for a moment. He was not stupid. He knew that Qin Haoren was only asking for a temporary solution. When he had the chance, he would kill him and Yi Qinghan without hesitation. Therefore, the Qin Emperor lifted his slender fingers and pressed them on the zither. My son, do you really have the heart to kill me? Have you thought about our parents' feelings? They will hate you to death. Qin Haoren's eyes flashed with a hint of hatred, but he quickly concealed it. The Qin Emperor's small hands trembled. He bowed to Yi Qinghan and begged, Teacher, please forgive him this time. I don't want my parents to be sad. The Qin Emperor's gentle and kind personality made him compromise again. Even though he had never received any love or care from his parents, he still wanted to express his goodwill to them. He hoped that they would change their view of him. Even a blind person had the right to receive their parents' love. Yi Qinghan saw the Qin Emperor's soft heart and begged him. He couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Zither immortal crimson demon physique. He was ostracized just because he was blind. He couldn't tolerate such a clan. You should know that he will not let you go if he has the chance. Yi Qinghan warned him coldly. It's okay. I have a clear conscience. But killing my brother and incurring the hatred of my parents is not my intention. Moreover, I will have the protection of my teacher in the future. I am not afraid. The Qin emperor gritted his teeth. Although he was sad, many people could feel the happiness and dependence in his heart when he mentioned the name of his teacher. Yi Qinghan smiled faintly. He didn't want to make things difficult for the Qin emperor. He poured out the vital essence from his palm and grabbed the broken sword on the ground. He then said to Qin Haoran, "Do you see this? Trash. Without a benevolent heart, how can you practice the Haoran sword art well? You look weak, but you can't even withstand a single blow. A person like you is not suitable for cultivation. I will spare your life, but I will destroy your sea of qi and let you enjoy the good fortune of being the young master of the Qin clan." No. You can't destroy my sea of qi. Qin Haoran was frightened. He slapped his butt on the ground and screamed in despair. Humph. Yi Qinghan snorted coldly. He infused the broken sword with vital essence and stabbed it at Qin Haoran's sea of qi. Qin Haoran was in despair. He didn't have the strength to dodge. Moreover, Yi Qinghan's speed was too fast. However, no one expected that at the most critical moment, a horrifying power suppressed the entire martial arts arena. The cold power rushed toward Yi Qinghan. Yi Qinghan's breath stagnated. He pulled back his hand and pulled the Qin emperor to the edge of the martial arts arena. His eyes flickered. A figure flashed in his eyes and landed beside Qin Haoran. Chapter 80. The energy outside the arena was fierce and powerful. Yi Qinghan's breathing stagnated, and he pulled back his hand. He pulled the Qin emperor and dashed to the edge of the arena. A bright light flashed in his eyes, and a figure appeared beside Qin Haoran. Qin Ing. Yi Qinghan looked at Qin clan's patriarch coldly and clenched his fist. Mr. Yi, Haoran should be punished for his mistake. However, destroying his qi sea is too serious. I believe that he has learned his lesson and will change for the better. Furthermore, I will punish him again. Please be merciful. Qin Ing said indifferently. Qin Haoran saw Qin Ing appear and immediately shouted, "Grandfather, save me. I am an elite of Qin clan. I don't want my qi sea to be destroyed." Shut up. Idiot. My painstaking efforts to nurture you are actually so useless. Qin Ing scolded coldly. Qin Haoran immediately lowered his head and did not speak. The hatred in his eyes became even more intense. At this moment, not only did he hate Yi Qinghan and Qin Shi, he also hated Qin Ing. Yi Qinghan coldly glanced at Qin Haoran. How could Qin Haoran's soul escape his eyes? However, since Qin Ing made a move, there was nothing much to say. He would let him off for the time being. Greetings to Senior Qin. Senior, this is an internal matter of the meeting of heroes. It's not good for you to interfere, right? Ling Chen cupped his fist and asked in a neither servile nor overbearing manner. I did not interfere. I only asked Mr. Yi for a favor. Whether Mr. Yi is willing to listen or not is up to him. Qin Ing was extremely shameless. He was lying through his teeth. He had already made a move and now he said that he did not interfere. This made Ling Chen speechless. Mr. Yi, can you give me some face? As long as you let this unfilial son go, I will discipline him strictly when I return. Qin Ying's aura rose as he said in a deep voice. At this moment, the one being humiliated was Qin Shi. However, Qin Ing did not even look at Qin Shi. He did not even say a word for him. Instead, he pressured Ling Chen to protect Qin Haoren. A strange smile hung on the corner of Yi Qinghan's mouth. He couldn't help but wonder if Qin Ning really valued Qin Shi Huang. It was strange that Qin Ning would let Qin Shi Huang inherit the majority of the Qin clan's assets. Fine, take him away. I hope you won't regret it in the future. Yi Qinghan replied coldly. Thank you, Mr. Yi. After Qin Ning finished speaking, he grabbed Qin Haoren and flew out of the martial arts practice field. From the beginning to the end, he didn't ask about the matter of the Qin Emperor being humiliated. The Qin Emperor felt sad. In the end, the Qin clan did not have a place for him to stay. Perhaps only Qin Ning and himself knew the real reason. Yi Qinghan was very puzzled. Logically speaking, Qin Ning should have asked about Qin Shi Huang's matter. Unfortunately, he didn't, not even a single word. It didn't seem like he loved Qin Shi Huang very much, so he placed most of the inheritance rights on him. Instead, he had other plans. Why is it like this? Yi Qinghan frowned and stared at Qin Shi Huang carefully. He seemed to have understood something. The reason was Qin Shi Huang. The atmosphere in the martial arts practice field was somewhat strange. Those who were clamoring to kill Yi Qinghan had all shut their mouths. Even Qin Haoren, who was ranked 10th, had been defeated. What was the point of others coming up? They would all be courting death. Everyone looked at Tang Chu, Xian Wuyu, and Di Kong. Now that Yi Qinghan was still on the field, only the three of them could take action. Di Kong and Yi Qinghan did not have any substantial conflict. Obviously, he wouldn't risk his life for Tang Chu. When Yi Qinghan was heavily injured, he might come out to take advantage of the situation. Tang Chu and Xian Wuyu looked at each other and discussed through voice transmission. Brother Xian, I will pay 1,000 mid-grade spirit crystals. You have the true spirit Dao wings. Killing him from the sky shouldn't be a problem, right? Tang Chu asked. Then what about Zhao Wuji? Are you confident? Can you escape from his hands? Xian Wuyu asked in a deep voice. Ha ha ha, Brother Xian, as long as we kill Yi Qinghan, will Zhao Wuji risk his life for a dead person? Tang Chu sneered. That's true. As long as Zhao Wuji is not stupid, once Yi Qinghan dies and then kills Qin Shi Huang, this matter will be left unsettled. Xian Wuyu coldly glanced at Yi Qinghan. His true spirit Dao wings spread open, and the crimson-red wings covered the sky with a majestic aura. Yi Qinghan, your footsteps end here. I will take you away. Xian Wuyu soared into the sky. His entire body was scarlet red, as if half the sky was burning. One could fly, while the other could only run underground. They were not on the same level at all. Damn, this works too. Since Xian Wuyu obtained the 5th grade true spirit Dao wings, other than the two great kings, Zhao Wuji can't win, right? You can only blame Yi Qinghan for being unlucky. Who asked him to provoke Tang Chu and the others? He even provoked them so arrogantly. I will find it strange if he doesn't die today. Everyone was discussing. No one sympathized with Yi Qinghan, and some even mocked him. Zhao Wuji's face darkened. He couldn't help but say coldly, Xian Wuyu, aren't you being too much of a bully? Why don't you take out a 5th grade combat weapon? Ha ha ha, weapons and martial skills are the embodiment of combat power. If you have the ability, go get a true spirit Dao wing too. I will not say no. Xian Wuyu laughed wildly. That's right. Weapons, martial skills, and luck were all embodiments of a cultivator's combat power. No one could say anything about it. Brother Yi, you have the right to choose to rest for a while. Leave Xian Wuyu to me. Zhao Wuji unsheathed his sword. His whole body was like a peerless sword, and his sword energy soared into the sky. No need, I will do it myself. Yi Qinghan's eyes were like the eyes of a dragon as he looked at Xian Wuyu in the sky. He was thinking about how to lure Xian Wuyu down. Don't force yourself. It's okay to retreat at this time. Zhao Wuji frowned. Facing the current Xian Wuyu, he didn't have the confidence to win. However, Yi Qinghan was bound to lose. Thanks, but I will deal with my own problems. It's just a 5th grade true spirit Dao Wing. I don't care about it, Yi Qinghan muttered. He stretched out his hand and said indifferently, Brother Zhao, let me borrow your sword. Zhao Wuji's sword was only a 3rd grade spiritual sword, and an ordinary one at that. He didn't come from a powerful family, and he didn't have a strong background. It was already good enough for him to get a 3rd grade spiritual sword by himself. Zhao Wuji didn't hesitate and threw the sword out. Yi Qinghan's wrist sank as he caught the spiritual sword. He found that the sword was made of ordinary material and might not be able to hurt Xian Wuyu. In the end, he could only return it to him. Yi Qinghan, can we start? I won't take advantage of you. I will start when you say so. But where is that stupid bird of yours? Let it come out. I will roast it alive. Xian Wuyu said coldly. What the fuck? You idiot, did I get in your way by hiding here and watching the show? Isn't this just lying down? The parrot had blended into the crowd at some point. When it heard Xian Wuyu scolding it, it jumped out and hooted. Pfft! Ha ha ha, this bird is so funny. It's so fat. It will taste good when roasted. The people in the Tang Chu camp laughed. Roast your sister. This divine bird is unique in the world. A bunch of ignorant children. Today, this divine bird will punish you on behalf of the moon. The parrot jumped more than 10 meters and ran directly to Yi Qinghan's shoulder with a flattering face. Yi Qinghan didn't scold it. He looked coldly at the parrot. This stupid bird jumped out at this time most likely because it was scolded by Xian Wuyu and couldn't help but run out. Otherwise, it wouldn't have come out to take the risk. Master, you have worked hard. Leave this birdman to me. I will take him down and you can wait to collect his corpse. The parrot promised solemnly to curry favor with Yi Qinghan. Are you sure? Yi Qinghan was curious. If he wasn't sure he could win, how could this parrot, who bullied the weak and feared the strong, win? Of course, I will definitely make him fall head first into the ground. The parrot secretly said. The parrot's sudden appearance attracted mockery and ridicule from the crowd. However, the parrot was thick-skinned. When people praised it, it immediately accepted it, but when people said it was fat, it pretended not to hear. When Xian Wuyu saw the parrot appear, he was furious. His murderous intent burst out, and the 4th grade spirit sword in his hand emitted a monstrous sword aura. Whoosh, the parrot flew into the sky, turning into a bolt of lightning. It flew across the ground and deliberately provoked Xian Wuyu. Idiot, I can fly. Come and chase me. After saying this, the parrot rose vertically. Its speed was so fast that its fat body couldn't affect its speed at all. Fuck. You stupid bird, I will definitely kill you today. Xian Wuyu rushed up and chased the parrot. One man and one bird, without any curve, both rose vertically. Whoosh, Xian Wuyu and the parrot were so fast that the crowd couldn't follow them. In the blink of an eye, they had reached a height of 1,000 meters. The parrot and Xian Wuyu were getting closer and closer. Xian Wuyu sneered. He took out a medium-grade spirit crystal and inserted it into his true spirit Dao wings. His speed increased, and he closed the distance again. Oh fuck. I surrender. I absolutely surrender. Little Xian, don't be so serious. Xian Wuyu wouldn't believe this stupid bird. He pulled out his sword and slashed at the parrot. His sword aura pierced through the clouds, incomparably sharp. Whoosh, the parrot retracted its butt and shot up like a rocket. It screamed and screamed exaggeratedly. Today, even if you scream yourself hoarse, no one will come to save you. Xian Wuyu laughed wildly. He closed the distance again. He put away his sword and reached out to grab the parrot, ready to roast it alive. At a height of 2,000 meters, a strong wind blew, and the cold air was oppressive. Xian Wuyu and the parrot were only 20 meters apart. The parrot's eyes flashed, and it suddenly dove down, crashing into Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu didn't expect the parrot to charge down. He laughed, and his true essence poured out from his hand, turning into a giant hand that covered the sky. Whoosh! When the parrot was less than 2 meters away from Xian Wuyu, it opened its mouth and spat out a mouthful of fire. The fire instantly engulfed Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu's eyes were burned, and his beautiful black hair was burned away. Ah! Xian Wuyu screamed. He hurriedly covered his eyes with his hands, but his eyes felt like they were being pricked by needles. His divine sense was in chaos, and he couldn't control his true spirit Tao wings. He fell to the ground. Woo woo woo, the strong wind blew, but the fire didn't weaken. Instead, it grew bigger, completely engulfing Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu screamed more and more miserably. His body twitched, and his hands scratched at his body. He wanted to put out the fire, but the more anxious he was, the more he couldn't control his true spirit Tao wings. The speed of his descent was faster than the speed of his ascent. Caw caw caw, you idiot. I said you were stupid, but you didn't believe me. This divine bird can breathe fire. I told you last time, but you still dared to come so close. Aren't you looking to die? The parrot had a smug look on its face as it chased after Xian Wuyu. In the blink of an eye, it had reached a height of a few hundred meters. Xian Wuyu was driven mad. If he could control his body, he would definitely cut the parrot in half. But now, he could only dance around, trying to put out the fire. It was a miserable sight. Chapter 81. A meteor streaked across the sky, shocking everyone. Xian Wuyu's exaggerated scream made them realize that the parrot had tricked Xian Wuyu. Yi Qinghan rolled his eyes. He was speechless as he watched the parrot chase after Xian Wuyu, spitting fire. He didn't know how the parrot had managed to turn around and trap Xian Wuyu like this. Xian Wuyu's falling speed was increasing. Seeing that he was about to hit the ground, Tang Chu's face darkened. He obviously couldn't allow Xian Wuyu to be tricked to death by the parrot. He took out a grade 3 iron crossbow from his yin and yang ring, knocking an arrow. He aimed at the void, but not at the parrot. Even Ling Chen couldn't stop him. Whoosh, tracking arrow. Tang Chu almost snapped the grade 3 iron crossbow. A black iron arrow roared out, drawing a 90-degree arc in the void as it suddenly shot towards the parrot. Aya! Fuck, you bitch! The parrot's pure white feathers stood on end as it desperately fled into the distance. Tang Chu shrugged and said indifferently, sorry, I missed. Zero Dawn looked coldly at Tang Chu and didn't say anything. Then, he looked at Leisure, who was falling rapidly from the void. When he was 50 meters from the ground, he just barely used his true spirit Tao wings. His falling speed was still not under control. 40 meters. 30 meters, Yi Qinghan's eyes were like torches. He formed a seal with his palms, which turned into a swimming dragon. His steps were extremely strange. 8 Division Heavenly Dragon Palm. Whoosh! Roar, Yi Qinghan's true essence poured out, turning into a heavenly dragon. It rushed into the clouds and blasted towards Xian Wuyu. Xian Wuyu's hair stood on end. He was still trying to control his true spirit Tao wings. There was no way he could block Yi Qinghan's attack. Ah! Rise for me! Xian Wuyu roared crazily. His wings beat the sky, rolling up tens of thousands of waves of air. He tried to control his body to stop falling, but Yi Qinghan's body was like an arrow. He actually flew up for a short period of time. No, he didn't fly. Yi Qinghan relied on his physical strength to jump 20 to 30 meters high. His true essence was just enough to attack Xian Wuyu. Roar, the true essence pouring out of Yi Qinghan's body transformed into a heavenly dragon that roared at the sky. It instantly left Yi Qinghan's palm and swept towards Xian Wuyu. Fear and despair filled Xian Wuyu's eyes. It was too late. There was no time to dodge. He hurriedly took out a treasure from the bottom of his chest. It was a high-grade spirit crystal. Boom, break for me. Yi Qinghan launched an attack before he was exhausted. He controlled the true essence dragon and shot out a palm attack. The true Yuan dragon was indestructible, and it instantly pierced through Xian Wuyu's body. A sharp true Yuan shot into Xian Wuyu's qi and exploded. Ah! Yi Qinghan! How dare you destroy my qi? When I reappear, I will exterminate your entire family. Xian Wuyu let out a blood-curdling scream as he shot a venomous glance at Yi Qinghan from the corner of his eyes. Then, he inserted the high-grade spirit crystal into his true spirit Dao wings. The true spirit Dao wings emitted a monstrous pressure. With the support of the high-grade spirit crystal, the true spirit Dao wings actually tore open the void on their own and disappeared without a trace with Xian Wuyu. Although Yi Qinghan's quintessential essence hadn't been exhausted after launching that attack, he couldn't exert any more force to kill Xian Wuyu. He could only watch as Xian Wuyu disappeared and fell down. Boom, Yi Qinghan fell from 20 to 30 meters in the air. With a loud bang, Yi Qinghan's feet landed on the ground, shaking the stone floor. He rolled a few times on the ground to dissipate 80% of the impact. Only then did he manage to stabilize himself. Tang Chu's face was ashen. He did not expect to be defeated by a lowly bird. Now that Yi Qinghan did not have the strength to fight, even if he and Di Kong joined hands, they would at most be able to injure Zhao Wuji. Obviously, Tang Chu would not fight to the death with Zhao Wuji. He turned his head and signaled to Xiao Yu and the others. He secretly transmitted his voice, Xiao Yu, act according to the plan and kill Qin Shi Huang. There were no longer any sounds of mockery towards Yi Qinghan on the training grounds. Their eyes were wide open, looking at Yi Qinghan as if they were looking at a demon. To be able to leap 30 meters high in a single bound, and also be able to unleash such a powerful attack, there was probably only Yi Qinghan alone. Everyone looked at the indifferent Yi Qinghan. He took out 2 mid-grade spirit crystals, one in each hand, and crushed them. He forcibly absorbed the majestic spirit qi, causing his arms to turn silver-white. Only Yi Qinghan dared to absorb spirit qi in such a crazy way. No one in the Bitter Sea stage had a full qi. 990 miles. 1 or 2 mid-grade spirit crystals could not burst the qi, and Yi Qinghan's body was unparalleled. Even if the spirit qi was violent, it could not destroy his body. Zhao Wuji stepped into the center of the martial arts arena and stood at the side. He looked at Tang Chu indifferently and said, Tang Chu, are you going to ask your women to apologize, or are you going to fight to the death with me? Apologize? Ridiculous, it is clearly Qin Shi Huang's fault, why should we apologize? Tang Chu sneered and continued, Zhao Wuji, Di Kong and I have a way to injure you and even perish together. But as an outsider, I feel that there is no meaning in fighting like this. Why don't we let the people involved deal with it personally? The winner lives, the loser dies, how about it? Tang Chu was not willing to fight to the death with Zhao Wuji. He chose the safest way, which was to use a group of Bitter Sea stage female cultivators to deal with a child of the Blood Ignition stage. Zhao Wuji looked at Tang Chu with disdain. He swept his eyes over Xiao Yu and the others, and found that most of them were at the 2 stars to 3 stars of the Bitter Sea stage. Xiao Yu was in existence at the 4 stars of the Bitter Sea stage. Letting Qin Shi Huang fight with them was completely sending him to his death. You think this is fair? Using a group of Bitter Sea stage adults to fight with a child of the Blood Ignition stage, and taking turns to fight, are you playing with me? Zhao Wuji questioned. This question made everyone on the martial arts arena fall silent for a while, and then burst into discussion. Isn't this too shameless? Is there no one from the Qin family who will stand up for Qin Shi Huang? He is just a blind person, who would offend so many families for a blind person? Xiao Yu looked at Qin Shi Huang with disdain, her eyes full of killing intent. Since Tang Chu had promised her that as long as she killed Qin Shi Huang, she could obtain everything she wanted, why not? We will suppress our cultivation. Qin Shi Huang is at the peak of the blood ignition stage, then we will suppress our cultivation to the peak of the blood ignition stage. If we suppress our cultivation and he still cannot win, then wouldn't it confirm the fact that he attacked us? Xiao Yu said confidently. That's right, if Qin Shi Huang does not admit that he attacked us sneakily, then Xiao Yu and the others would be beaten so badly. This means that Xiao Yu does not need to suppress her cultivation and he should win. Now that Xiao Yu has suppressed her cultivation, if he cannot win, then it is clear who was right and who was wrong. Tang Chu said in a low voice. Hearing this, everyone felt that it made sense. There is no need to suppress your cultivation, let's all attack together. I will use my actions to prove that I am not wrong. Qin Shi Huang stepped into the center of the martial arts arena, the birthmark on his palm glowing with a faint golden light, which was covered by his wide battle robe. The master was arrogant, but the disciple was even more arrogant. A blind person, at the same time, declared war on more than 10 female cultivators of the bitter sea stage. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air, looking at the young Qin Shi Huang's firm tone, they could not help but be curious. Yi Qinghan had created a miracle, could Qin Shi Huang do the same? Since Qin Shi Huang has declared war on all of you at the same time, then there is no need to be polite. Attack together, let the two kings and the crown prince of Lulan see who was wrong today. Tang Chu did not give Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan a chance to back out, and quickly replied. Zhao Wuji's breath stagnated. Looking at Qin Shi Huang's clear eyes, he did not have the slightest bit of fear, he only wanted to prove his determination. Looking at Yi Qinghan, he also did not have much worry. He could not help but have a strong interest in this pair of master and disciple. Chapter 82. The sun shone down on the world. As it approached noon, more and more people gathered around the martial arts field. Yi Qinghan saw that Tang Chu had directly rejected his challenge, and the killing intent in his eyes disappeared. He turned to the Qin emperor and said in a hoarse voice, "Prove yourself. Remember, this is a fight to the death. Don't be sad, because even if you die, no one will pity you." "Yes, master, I won't embarrass you." The Qin emperor nodded gravely and came to the side of Yi Qinghan, using his body to block the view of the crowd. A terrifying energy burst out from his palm, and the Guqin in his bosom returned to the ring of cosmos. The Guqin in his bosom, however, returned to the ring of universe. All of this happened silently. Even Lu Ning only felt a terrifying energy fluctuation, and then it disappeared without a trace. Yi Qinghan patted the Qin emperor and left the martial arts field with Zhao Wuji. The Qin emperor was still the Qin emperor, still holding the zither, still at the peak of the blood ignition realm. There was no change. Xiao Yu and the others sneered. More than 10 1-star, 2-star, and even 3-star bitter sea experts could not deal with a 13-year-old child. They should just cut their own throats and commit suicide. "Little bastard, today I will teach you how to behave." Xiao Yu sneered cruelly, the malevolence and killing intent in her eyes was not concealed at all. It was as if she regarded Tang Chu as an omnipotent backer, but she did not know that she had been abandoned. Today, regardless of winning or losing, she would die. The Qin emperor did not refute. He lowered his head and smiled. That touch of gentleness was like the shyness of a snow lotus flower at the peak of a mountain. He was more handsome than a man and more beautiful than a woman. He held the ancient immortal zither and slowly retreated. His 5 fingers played the zither, and the sound of nature suddenly sounded. The sound of the zither attracted hundreds of birds. The world was deathly silent, and all living things listened. They were unwilling to interrupt the beautiful sound of the zither, and even more unwilling to disturb the person playing the zither. As the sound of the zither rose, the Qin Emperor's 10 fingers left the zither. The zither unexpectedly hovered in front of the Qin Emperor without any support, as if it was attracted by the Qin Emperor's hand. Everyone was stunned. Weng weng weng. The 10 fingers plucked the 9 strings at the same time. The melody became more and more urgent, controlling the qi, blood and true yuan of the experts, sometimes suppressed, sometimes boiling. Zeng zeng zeng. The experts on the periphery retreated, their faces changed. They tried their best to control their qi, returning their true yuan, suppressing the restlessness of their qi and blood. Fortunately, this was only the aftermath, and the Qin Emperor did not target them. Instead, it was the sound of the Qin Emperor's zither that affected them. If the Qin Emperor had mobilized his Zhen Yuan to actively control it, they would not have been able to regain control of the Zhen Yuan so easily. I saw a fairyland. Those at the bitter sea stage with slightly weaker Dao hearts were directly lost. It was as if they had stepped into an immortal realm. All around them was a paradise. 4th grade spirit herbs and even 5th grade battle weapons could be found everywhere. There was an abundance of spiritual energy. The willows swayed, the surface of the lake swayed, hundreds of flowers bloomed, the flowers flew and the butterflies danced. Some existences with firm Dao hearts retreated continuously. They stared at the Qin Emperor with pale faces. They knew it was an illusion, but they didn't want to break it. Xiao Yu and the others in the center of the martial arts practice field were the first to bear the brunt. Before they could attack, they were instantly bewitched, and their eyes were full of greed. Ha ha ha, I'm rich. So many treasures. Precious spirit pills, 5th grade secret technique. Hee hee, with these, what use do I have for Tang Chu? These treasures are all mine. Lu Ning looked at the Qin Emperor's hair fluttering in the wind, his eyes emitting light. The sound of the zither turned into a unique melody, as if a fairy had descended, holy and inviolable. Lu Ning could not help but gasp. She said to herself, is it a special constitution? How many years has it been since a special constitution appeared? What constitution does he have? Tang Chu saw that Xiao Yu was bewitched, and the greed in his eyes was disgusting. He could not help but clench his fists, groan, and withdraw his killing intent. No one knew what Xiao Yu and the others saw, but they saw hundreds of birds flying in the sky, butterflies dancing, the blue sky and white clouds suddenly changing, causing a terrifying phenomenon. Red clouds hung in the sky, turning into golden dragons and phoenixes that surrounded the Qin Emperor. The sound of the zither was melodious, and the scene changed again. Maple leaves fluttered in the sky, covering the sky. The whole world became red, dark and gloomy. It evoked the inner demons of Xiao Yu. Qin Emperor. You bitch, I let you drink because you are blind, and I let you kneel because I am giving you face. How dare you hit me? See if I don't kill you today. Xiao Yu roared. The image of the Qin Emperor weakly lying in the rain appeared in front of her eyes, looking pitiful, which made her even more ferocious. Everyone suddenly showed a strange expression. Tang Chu was even more furious. She couldn't wait to slap this bitch into the 100,000 mountains. Yi Qinghan smiled indifferently. He could not tell that although the Qin Emperor was simple, he was not stupid. He knew to evoke the inner demons of Xiao Yu and the others, and to reveal the truth first. Even if he killed these people now, the families behind them would not have the face to blame him. Buzz. The Qin Emperor's face darkened. The strange melody controlled the sea of consciousness of many female cultivators, causing them to hallucinate. Go die. If I kill you, I can get everything I want. Xiao Yu raised her sword and stabbed at a person beside her. Puchi. Ah. Kill. More than 10 female cultivators of the bitter sea stage lost control at the same time, and began to kill each other. They raised their swords and hacked. In an instant, several people fell into a pool of blood. Everyone's expression was incomparably ferocious, wishing they could chop the person in front of them into meat paste. Everyone's hair stood on end. If the Qin Emperor's cultivation level was higher, facing an army of tens of thousands, it would be like an eagle catching chickens. No matter how many there were, they would be killed. In an instant, of the 13 female cultivators, 7 had fallen to the ground. Xiao Yu took the lead, charging straight through their group. Her killing intent was aroused, and she killed several people in a row. Her body was bathed in a river of blood, so cruel that it made people's hair stand up. Die! Stupid blind! Xiao Yu's swordsmanship was swift and fierce. After receiving the guidance of Tang Chu, it was far better than the others. No one was a match for her, and she killed the most. The people of the Tang Chu camp watched Xiao Yu slaughter their own women, their faces ashen, but they could not blame her. After all, they were killing each other. The sound of the zither changed again. The remaining 5 female cultivators all charged at Xiao Yu, as if treating Xiao Yu as the Qin Emperor. Go to hell, bitch! The 5 people besieged Xiao Yu from different directions, causing her a lot of damage in an instant. One of them stabbed Xiao Yu's thigh with his sword. With a fierce slash, her clothes were cut open, revealing her bloody thigh. You are courting death. How dare you hurt me? I will torture you to death. Xiao Yu was furious. She stabbed down with her sword, directly piercing the opponent's back and suppressing him. However, there were still 4 people who seized the opportunity and stabbed at Xiao Yu's body at the same time. Xiao Yu's legs were held by the dead teammate, so she could not move. She could only pull out her sword and sweep it across. The sword Qi swept across and killed the 2 companions in front of her, but the 2 behind her stabbed her back at the same time. Ah! Xiao Yu screamed. She staggered and fell to the ground. Blood flowed like a stream. She desperately kicked the dead person who was holding her legs. At this moment, they could not use any martial techniques or secret techniques. They were fighting in a completely barbaric way. Xiao Yu used her strength to kick the dead body away. She looked at the remaining 2 people with a ferocious face, as if she had seen the enemy who killed her father. Everyone was terrified. They looked at the Qin Emperor again. The speed at which his hands plucked the strings began to slow down. His face was pale. The melody began to become chaotic. The control of the sound of the zither was greatly weakened. Give up the control and recover your Jin Yuan quickly. Use the absorbing roar and try to kill him in one blow. Yi Qinghan reminded him with a deep voice. Hearing that, the Qin Emperor decisively gave up playing the zither. He took out a good pill of recovery from his universe ring and swallowed it. The spiritual energy spread to his limbs and bones, turning into Jin Yuan and gathering in his sea of qi. As the sound of the zither stopped, Xiao Yu and the others woke up instantly. They turned around and found that only 3 of them could still stand up, and they were all seriously injured. Looking at the Qin Emperor, they found that not even a strand of his hair was harmed. They could not help but be frightened and furious. This is impossible. I killed him. Xiao Yu did not come back to her senses for a moment. She could not help but roar hysterically. Xiao Yu, you are so vicious. You killed me. A girl lying in a pool of blood was struggling. She pointed at Xiao Yu and shouted angrily. Before she could finish her sentence, she fell to the ground and died on the spot. I didn't kill you. You were not killed by me. Xiao Yu was frightened. She knelt down on one knee, looking embarrassed. Looking at the 10 people lying on the ground and then at the Qin Emperor, she seemed to have understood something. The remaining 3 looked at the Qin Emperor with resentment. They struggled to stand up and threw themselves at the Qin Emperor. Qin Emperor! You bastard! You evil man. You used such a vicious method to control us. I will kill you. Xiao Yu was furious. She thrust her sword at the Qin Emperor's throat like a rainbow. Everyone felt it was a pity. The Qin Emperor was exhausted and his body was weak. He was no match for Xiao Yu and the others, even though the three of them were all seriously injured. Yi Qinghan clenched his iron fists, ready to strike at any moment. Lu Ning held the silver divine whip tightly and stared at the center of the battlefield. She loved the Qin Emperor and would not allow anyone to kill him. Xiao Yu and the other two were extremely fast. The distance of 20 meters was shortened by half. They were about to kill the Qin Emperor. The Qin Emperor's face was gloomy. He was sweating profusely. He tried to control his Jin Yuan, but he was still unable to perform the Guqin Dao attack that contained the soul-absorbing roar. Huff! 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 Everyone on the martial arts field was breathing faster. The Qin Emperor kept retreating. He was still young and panicked. Die! Xiao Yu and the other two rushed to the front of the Qin Emperor and thrust their swords. They were determined to kill him. You little bitches! How dare you sneak attack your Lord Divine Bird? Die! The parrot's hair was messy as if it had been roasted by fire. Apparently, it was hit by Tang Chu's arrow. At the moment, it was infuriated. It dashed in the void and turned into a flash of lightning, pouncing at Xiao Yu and the other two. Hua! A huge fire engulfed Xiao Yu and the other two, almost wrapping the Qin Emperor in it. The fire spouted by the parrot seemed to be of a higher level than ordinary fire. Once touched, it would ignite. The clothes on Xiao Yu and the others were burned away instantly. Even their hair was gone. Their whole bodies were engulfed by the fire and started burning. Ah! Ah! The three of them screamed. They even lost their swords. They waved their hands and feet in joy. Their mournful screams pierced everyone's eardrums. However, it seemed that not many people sympathized with them. The parrot glared at Tang Chu and the others and shouted, "Which bitch shot me with an arrow just now? Get out here for this divine bird." Yi Qinghan let out a mouthful of turbid air. He couldn't help but grin when he saw the parrot in such a sorry state and flew into a rage. Ling Chen and the others also let out a mouthful of air. They were speechless. This bitch bird always appeared at the most crucial moment. Tang Chu was speechless. He looked at the parrot angrily. He wished he could take out the iron crossbow and shoot it again. No one will dare to offend you. I have something to do today. Goodbye. Tang Chu did not give Yi Qinghan a chance to speak. He turned around and left with his henchmen. He was afraid that he would be extorted for another few hundred mid-grade spirit crystals. Ing Feng's eyes flashed when he saw the end of the battle. He quietly left. Even Yi Qinghan did not notice how he left. Lu Ning, Ling Chen, Wang Shizhi, and the others stared at Yi Qinghan's back. Each of them had their own thoughts. At this moment, it was already afternoon. The setting sun sprinkled its golden rays onto everyone's faces. Many people were dissatisfied that they didn't get to see the battle between Yi Qinghan and Tang Chu. However, after some noise, the crowd dispersed. Fuck, that was awesome. Today, I saw a miracle. One star of the Bitter Sea Realm, sweeping through the Bitter Sea Realm, yet no one was his match. If I had such ability, how could I not be king? Yes, it made my blood boil. Only now did I remember that I have not eaten breakfast. Let's go home and eat. Then, I will cultivate hard. Maybe one day I can reach this level. Goo goo goo. When they talked about eating, many people remembered that most of them had not eaten. They stared blankly for half a day. Qin Shi Huang rubbed his stomach and smiled bitterly, "Master, I am also hungry." Let's go home. Yes, let's go back. Yi Qinghan nodded and was about to leave with Qin Shi Huang. Brother Yi, Outyin apologizes to you and Qin Shi Huang for today's matter. I will send someone to compensate you in the afternoon. I hope you can accept it. Lu Outyin cupped his fists and said. No need, this is not your fault. Moreover, the hatred is gone. There is no point in pursuing it. Brother Lu, go and do your things. Let's part here. See you at the auction tomorrow. Yi Qinghan said indifferently. All right, I will not disturb you. I still have other things to do. Goodbye. Lu Outyin nodded and said. Zhao Wuji looked at Yi Qinghan and asked in a low voice, Brother Yi, do you have time to discuss the martial path of the bitter sea with me? Let's go together. Thank you for today. Yi Qinghan knew how to repay kindness. Zhao Wuji had helped him without hesitation today. It would not be right if he did not help him. Yi Qinghan and Zhao Wuji brought Qin Shi Huang to Huafei's courtyard. Lu Ning stared at Yi Qinghan's back and subconsciously followed. The central hall of the Lingbao Hall was dazzling and luxurious. Everywhere was filled with an extravagant aura. One could see the splendor of the Lingbao Hall. At this moment, other than Qin Haoren who was kneeling on the ground, there was only Qi Ning who had a solemn expression. There was no one else in the surroundings. Even the guards had left the courtyard and were guarding outside. Trash. Dealing with Qin Shi Huang in front of everyone. Where is your brain? You are so stubborn. For some petty thoughts, you suppressed your opponents. How can I be at ease to hand over the Qin clan and the rank 4 Lingbao Hall to you? Qi Ning was resentful that Qin Haoren did not live up to his expectations as he angrily scolded. Qin Haoren's eyes were filled with haze as killing intent flashed past. He said with dissatisfaction, Great-grandfather, most of the Qin clan's assets are in Qin Shi Huang's hands. No matter what, it is impossible for me to obtain the Qin clan. I dealt with him because I did not want the Qin clan to be destroyed in the hands of that blind man. Pa! Bastard! In the end, Qin Shi Huang is. Qi Ning fiercely slapped Qin Haoren. The crisp sound echoed in the hall. Seeing Qin Haoren's dissatisfaction and doubt, he could not help but feel sad. What do you know? If I did not purposely announce that most of the Qin clan's assets would be inherited by Qin Shi Huang, would you be able to live until now? Don't you know that the Qin clan is fighting and scheming against each other? Now you want to kill Qin Shi Huang. If you were the successor, wouldn't the other members of the Qin clan want to kill you as well? Qi Ning coldly scolded. Qin Haoren was startled for a moment. Then, he pressed Qi Ning down with pleasant surprise. His whole body was trembling with excitement. Great-grandfather, you mean? Qin Haoren wanted to ask with uncertainty, but he was afraid that the answer he would get would be different from what he had guessed. In the end, he did not dare to ask. That's right. Qin Shi Huang is only the successor on the surface. He helped you attract the attention of the Qin clan and even the people who coveted the Qin clan's assets. You are the eldest son of the Qin clan and also a genius. In order to let you go out alone to gain experience and grow quickly so that you can be independent in the future, I announced that Qin Shi Huang is the successor and treated him like a treasure to attract people's attention. However, your performance really disappointed me. Qi Ning angrily scolded. Qin Haoren was surprised and happy. He did not expect that Qin Shi Huang was only a scapegoat. Why was he jealous of him? Great-grandfather, I was wrong. I was confused for a moment and was blinded by appearances. Please give me another chance. Qin Haoren prostrated himself on the ground and forgot that Qi Ning had slapped him. Today, come with me to apologize to Qin Shi Huang and Yi Qinghan. Qin Ying's face darkened as he coldly said. Why? Qin Shi Huang is only blind. What can Yi Qinghan do? He only relied on his speed. Great-grandfather, why do you care so much about them? Qin Haoran was unwilling. Asking him to apologize to Qin Shi Huang was worse than killing him. I don't care about Qin Shi Huang. Even if he has the so-called zither immortal scarlet demon body, he won't be able to do anything. However, Yi Qinghan is different. Qi Ning shook his head and said helplessly. Chapter 84. The meeting of heroes had shocked so many people and shook the hearts of so many heroes. In the evening, the setting sun dyed half of the sky red in flaming Cloud City. Maple leaves were falling, flowers were flying and butterflies were dancing in the sky. Zhao Wuji and Yi Qinghan talked for an entire afternoon. Zhao Wuji's face was rosy as he learned a lot. He cupped his fists and left respectfully. No one knew that this discussion made Zhao Wuji disappear for more than 10 years. When he reappeared, he had completely changed. After this battle, Yi Qinghan also knew his own flaws and had a deep understanding. In front of the experts, Zhong Yu could not use all of his skills. He could not use the extreme Dao Divine Dragon Steps, the heavy Berserk Saber, the Azure Dragon Art, and all of the powerful martial skills in the Divine Martial Emperor Code. Before reaching the Dao Sovereign Realm, the Shaolong region's great revered martial emperor was his limit. It seems that I have to create my own rank 5 martial technique and conceal my heavy manic blade. But before that, I should find out Lu Ning's purpose in coming to Owl Falling Star. Yi Qinghan stood by the lake and looked at the Milky Way. His hands were behind his back and his back was facing the common people. His strong and cold aura made it hard for people to approach him. In the distance, Lu Ning looked at Yi Qinghan from afar. Her eyes were filled with doubt and she could not help but get closer to this barren land. The gloomy weather made the fish jump out of the water and the lotus flowers started to wither. Faint spiritual energy floated out of the water and formed a layer of spiritual mist. It was magnificent. At this moment, the courtyard was like a painting in a fairyland. Strands of heavenly melodies spread out. It was as if it came from the ancient times. It was elegant and full of vicissitudes. It attracted countless green birds to circle around. The chirping of the birds accompanied the music. The fish jumped higher and higher as they played. The beauty of nature was displayed here. Lu Ning took a deep breath. She held the silver divine whip tightly and stepped into the courtyard. Yi Qinghan turned around and looked at Lu Ning. His heart sank as he thought, she still came. I didn't expect that after 5 years, she would grow to this extent. The tall Lu Ning could be considered a beauty that could cause the downfall of a country. Her beauty was peerless, enough to instantly kill any woman on Owl Fall Star. Her kingly aura was rich, and she had a unique style. Her white warrior's battle robe added to her heroic spirit. Supreme Yi, I know it's you. Lu Ning walked as if she was flying. Her toes touched the surface of the water as if she was walking on flat ground. Finally, she stepped on a lotus leaf like a fairy. The melodious sound was crisp and clear, and the sound of the zither came to an abrupt end. The blue bird flew away, and the area within 100 meters was dead silent. Yi Qinghan's eyes revealed a trace of suspicion as he asked indifferently, "You've got the wrong person. This Yi hasn't even been conferred the title of king, so where did the title of supreme come from?" "Ji Zun, no matter how you change, your soul won't change, your aura won't change, and the story behind you won't change. You don't dare to admit it because you're afraid that Lu Ning will betray you?" Lu Ning asked in a deep voice. "I really don't know who you're talking about. I'm just a barbarian from Wanshan town. I have proof. With your qualifications, it shouldn't be hard to find out who I am." Yi Qinghan turned around with his back facing Lu Ning. A trace of killing intent flashed in his eyes, but it was immediately restrained. He couldn't kill Lu Ning, or else the Lu family's people would swarm into Owl Fall Star. No matter how tyrannical he was, he wouldn't be able to escape from the Lu family's pursuit. "Is that so?" It doesn't matter if you don't admit it. I can announce to the public that another Yi Qinghan has appeared on Owl Falls Star, and he has the same aura as the Supreme Battle King. I believe that not only the Liu family, but all the great revered martial artists in Owl Falls Star will rush there. Lu Ning threatened coldly. Yi Qinghan's expression didn't change. The light in his eyes was oppressive, and he quickly regained his calm. He slowly turned around to look at Lu Ning and asked hoarsely, "What do you want to say?" "I want you to prove your identity. Prove your identity to me, or you will die here today." The silver divine whip in Lu Ning's hand emitted a purple light, and its aura enveloped a radius of 1,000 meters. The elegance of this place instantly disappeared, and it became incomparably oppressive. The air froze, and the two of them stared at each other. Neither of them was willing to back down. Qin Shihuang walked out with his zither in his arms. The parrot squatted on Qin Shihuang's shoulder with a vigilant expression. When it saw Lu Ning's hostility and strength, it couldn't help but shiver. "Beauty, if you have something to say, let's talk it out. Our master is handsome and elegant. If you want to marry him, you should at least have a proper attitude. Who would dare to marry such a fierce person?" The parrot said in a despicable manner. "Shut up." Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning shouted at the same time, and coldly reprimanded it. The parrot staggered, and grabbed Qin Shihuang's collar. It immediately shut up, and didn't even dare to make a sound. "My son, go back to the house, and don't come out." Yi Qinghan's hair danced wildly in the wind, and his voice was overbearing and domineering. It was filled with a commanding tone, and Qin Shihuang had no room to refuse. He hugged his zither and went back. Only Yi Qinghan and Lu Ning were left outside the house. The two of them faced each other, and Lu Ning didn't have any intention of compromising. It was as if she was certain that Yi Qinghan was the peerless martial venerate of Owl War Planet. "If I am the supreme venerate you said, what will you do? If I am not, what will you do?" Yi Qinghan asked indifferently. "If you are, let's make a deal. If you are not, I will kill you," Lu Ning said arrogantly. "Ha ha ha, kill me. Let's not talk about whether or not you can kill me. Let's talk about what kind of deal you are going to make. Maybe it can move me, and I can pretend to be your supreme venerate." Yi Qinghan laughed loudly. He was curious about Lu Ning's thoughts, and he couldn't help but ask. "If you are really him, please prove it. I will help you hide your identity, but you have to agree to one condition." Lu Ning said in a deep voice. "What condition?" Yi Qinghan turned around and sat on the railing. He raised his eyebrows and asked. "Some people in the Liu family made mistakes in the past, and they need to bear the consequences. However, you can't harm the innocent. Give the Liu family a way out." Lu Ning's eyes were like lightning as she stared into Yi Qinghan's eyes. "I have two questions. Can you answer them first?" Yi Qinghan was a little confused. He stared at Lu Ning and asked. "Okay, ask away." Lu Ning suppressed the urgency in her heart and immediately replied. "First of all, from what you said, the supreme venerate you said has a grudge with the Liu family. If you are confident that you can kill me, why don't you?" Yi Qinghan was very confused. He didn't know that a strand of his black hair had completely conquered her back then. "If you are really him, I can't kill you, and I don't want to kill you. As for the reason, don't you know?" Lu Ning's face darkened. The person she loved had become an enemy in the blink of an eye because of the wrong decision of some people in the family. One could imagine how she felt. "Since you are an enemy, why should I believe you?" "Why should I believe you?" Yi Qinghan asked coldly. "As long as you can prove it, I will give you a satisfactory explanation. Even if you want to kill me, I won't frown. As long as you are willing to give the Liu family a way out." Lu Ning replied firmly. Yi Qinghan's lips curled up slightly. He didn't know whether Lu Ning was telling the truth or not, but he knew that she had recognized him. Perhaps she had paid too much attention to him, so she could recognize his back. As for whether Lu Ning could believe him, Yi Qinghan didn't care. No matter if she was sincere or not, he couldn't believe her. How are you going to make me believe you? Yi Qinghan asked faintly. I will seal my memories. All memories related to you will be sealed until I reach the Tao sovereign realm. At that time, you won't care about the Shaolong region, right? Lu Ning replied decisively. Sealing her memories was such a sincere concession. It made Yi Qinghan stunned. She couldn't hide the admiration in her eyes. Cloud-piercing ship. A 5th-grade flying ship. The worst one was worth 10,000 high-grade spirit crystals. Even a 5th-grade family couldn't afford it. Chapter 85. In the night sky, the nebula and the heavenly river flowed in reverse. A dark cloud stretched for thousands of miles and turned into a heavenly dragon. It wanted to swallow the desolate universe and show the vastness and majesty of nature. Yi Qinghan borrowed the power of heaven and earth and turned into a god of war. His battle intent soared to the sky as he clenched his heavy berserk saber and pressed down on Lu Ning. Lu Ning's invincible king aura was instantly suppressed. I want to tamper with your memories. You can choose to fight with me or listen to me. The hoarse voice carried an undeniable will and was incomparably overbearing. The ethereal pressure of heaven and earth enveloped Lu Ning, suppressing her until she couldn't straighten her back. A dignified king-ranked expert's Dao heart was actually so weak under Yi Qinghan's full power. This was Yi Qinghan's influence on her in her previous life. She couldn't go against him or she would die. However, Yi Qinghan wouldn't look down on Lu Ning just because she didn't dare to go against him. If it was anyone else today, even if it was someone at the 4th step of the Grotto Heaven realm, suppressing Lu Ning like this would only result in an even more terrifying resistance. Supreme Yi, even if you want to kill me, I won't resist. I'll say it again. Back then, most of the people in the Lu clan opposed my ancestors' attack. Many of them are innocent. Please forgive them. Lu Ning sat cross-legged on the ground and kept her silver whip. She waited for Yi Qinghan to tamper with her memories. Yi Qinghan looked at Lu Ning's attitude. He crossed dozens of meters in one step and placed the heavy berserk saber on her neck. Lu Ning actually didn't resist at all. Are you really not afraid of death? I believe that Supreme Yi won't kill a woman who has compromised. Lu Ning's determination made Yi Qinghan silent. He pressed 5 fingers on her head and the tyrannical spirit of a grandmaster broke into Lu Ning's consciousness. Don't resist. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that you can become a normal person. Lu Ning relaxed her consciousness and exposed all her memories. She was defenseless. Yi Qinghan took advantage of this opportunity to enter and view part of her memories. It was about how Shaolong region treated the remaining living beings of Shao Zhanqing's Yi family after Shao Zhanqing's destruction. She saw countless people being massacred, and even desolate beasts weren't spared. Vicious beasts roared and goshawks cried out in grief. These cries turned into the most mournful roars towards the heavens. Unfortunately, they didn't receive the slightest bit of pity. Owl War Star's hundreds of millions of creatures were wiped out in the end. Yi Qinghan took a deep breath. A sorrowful aura shot up into the sky. His murderous aura was so dense that it almost materialized. The trembling heavy wild blade cut open Lu Ning's snow-white skin, causing blood to flow out. Lu Ning remained silent. She could feel Yi Qinghan's sadness and anger. She felt sad and helpless. Shaolong region. I will not rest until you are dead. Yi Qinghan's hoarse voice was filled with killing intent, causing Lu Ning to tremble. Yi Qinghan continued to explore her sea of consciousness, looking for the memories he wanted. After a long time, he finally found the information about Gu Qingyu and Sikong Liancheng. Qingyu didn't die. He actually took advantage of my self-detonation to escape. Yi Qinghan's pupils shrank. His eyes emitted rays of light. After all these years, he finally received a piece of good news. Brother Lianqing also escaped from Shaolong region. Good. It's good that the two of you are fine. Yi Qinghan exhaled a mouthful of turbid air. The news of the two's safety was very important to him. He was afraid that the great Yi clan had already been completely annihilated. The only ones who had a chance to survive were these two brothers. Lu Ning's Dao heart was still calm. She didn't disturb Yi Qinghan and let him gallop in her own desolate world. After obtaining the memories he wanted, Yi Qinghan also understood Lu Ning. He didn't have much hatred towards her. She was willing to give up her defense and let him enter her sea of consciousness to tamper with her memories. This was very beneficial to him. Moreover, with his current situation, it was almost impossible to kill Lu Ning. Even if he killed her, his identity would be exposed. Yi Qinghan used the soul of a great marshal revered to erase Lu Ning's memories of him and tamper with part of her memories. She could only recover them after she reached the Dao revered realm. Lu Ning was drowsy and had no more strength to resist. Finally, she leaned against a big tree and sank into oblivion. Her eyebrows were tightly knitted and occasionally relaxed. She lost some of her heroic spirit and gained some tenderness. Yi Qinghan helped her heal the wound on her neck. Sensing that there was no danger around, he quietly left the forest. In the dark night, Yi Qinghan's mind was in a mess. Tonight, he received some good news and some bad news. Looking up at the dense starry clouds and the cold wind, his sorrowful figure swayed in the cold wind. He stepped into Huiyun City and quickly rushed to the courtyard. The courtyard was brightly lit. Qin Shihuang was kneeling on the ground and didn't dare to move. Qin Haoren was standing in front of him with his head held high. Qin Ying's face was solemn. He didn't have any intention of letting Qin Shihuang stand up. Now that it was winter, the temperature of the ground was extremely low. Qin Shihuang was weak. He allowed the cold air to enter his body but didn't dare to refute Qin Ying. "My son, serve Mr. Yi well. Do you understand?" Qin Ying said coldly. "I understand." Qin Shihuang replied respectfully. "Your brother was muddle-headed and did something wrong. Don't take it to heart. I've already taught him a lesson at home. When Mr. Yi comes back, you can talk to him and see if he can teach your brother a thing or two." Qin Ying said matter-of-factly. He didn't care about Qin Shihuang's feelings at all. "Teach your sister. Qin Shihuang, get up. Otherwise, I'll expel you from the sect on behalf of the master." The parrot was furious. It looked at the pair of bastards in front of it and wanted to burn them to death. "Bastard, you're just a bastard. You dare to order me around? Today, I'll spare your life for Mr. Ye's sake. If you dare to talk back, I'll pull out your tongue." Qin Ying's aura erupted and suppressed the parrot. How could the parrot be a match for an expert at the peak of the third step of Grotto Heaven realm? It was forced back several steps by the aura. But today, it actually stood firm and didn't back down. "Qin Shihuang, stand up. If you don't stand up, I'll get angry." The parrot angrily scolded. "You dare. Disobeying grandfather's orders will result in you being expelled from the Qin clan." Qin Haoren coldly looked at Qin Shihuang and disdainfully warned him. From the beginning, he looked down on this blind Qin Shihuang. Qin Ying didn't say anything, but his attitude was clear. Qin Shihuang's body trembled. The cold air coming from his knees made him frown. He struggled for a while, but in the end, he didn't dare to stand up. "Fuck, I'm going to die from anger. You bastards, when the master comes back, he'll definitely beat you to death." The parrot was flustered and exasperated. It spat out a mouthful of flames onto the ground, raising the temperature of the surroundings. Qin Shihuang finally felt a bit better. Mr. Yi only took pity on him. If he was willing to accept me as his disciple, I'd definitely be 10,000 times better than this blind man. Qin Haoran's arrogance soared to the heavens. He seemed to consider himself an insufferably arrogant genius. When Yi Qinghan was 100 meters away from the monastery, he suddenly sensed 2 additional soul fluctuations. He couldn't help but frown. Summoning his heavy berserk saber, he crossed dozens of meters with a single step and broke through the door. Seeing Qin Shihuang kneeling on the ground, he was immediately enraged. "Stand up for me." Yi Qinghan's eyes emitted a cold flame. His battle robes fluttered and his long hair wildly danced. The momentum of the world around him froze. His hoarse voice contained a supreme will, as if even the heavens couldn't go against it. Seeing Yi Qinghan return, Qin Shihuang immediately regained his backbone. He supported himself with the zither in his bosom and stood up. His legs were sore. It was obvious that he had been kneeling for a long time. He staggered and almost fell down. Yi Qinghan was both angry and in pain. He coldly looked at Qin Ning, not bothering to hide his killing intent. He angrily shouted, "Qin Ning, I'm giving you face. Do you think you can humiliate my people?" Murderous intent rose from all directions in the monastery. The icy cold aura caused the water in the lotus pond to quickly freeze. It was so cold that it was suffocating. Qin Haoran's face paled as he repeatedly retreated. He didn't dare to look directly at Yi Qinghan. Qin Ying's expression suddenly changed. This was the first time he had been insulted like this. How could his mood be good? "Mr. Yi, I respect you. You're too arrogant. This old man wants to teach a descendant of the Qin clan. This is my right. Don't say that I want him to kneel, even if I want him to die, he can't refuse." Qin Ning coldly said. "Kakik," the veins on Yi Qinghan's entire body bulged. He tightly gripped his heavy wild saber, emitting a cold light in all directions. "Remember, Qin Shihuang is my disciple. He doesn't need you to discipline him. If you dare to speak out of turn and anger me, it won't do you any good." Yi Qinghan strongly warned. "Yi Qinghan, for a blind person, and a little girl at that, you want to fall out with me and end our cooperation?" Qin Ying's aura suddenly changed as he coldly questioned. "Little girl?" Yi Qinghan glanced at Qin Shihuang. He wasn't too surprised. After all, Qin Shihuang's personality was too similar to a little girl's. So what if she's a little girl? She'll eventually step into the 9 heavens and look down on all living things. She'll become an eternal emperor. Yi Qinghan disdainfully looked at Qin Ning and coldly said, "Since you look down on Qin Shihuang so much, then I'll buy her out today. I won't want the remaining spirit crystals from the sale of the 5th grade martial technique, cloud flipping palm. I'll buy this little girl. From today onwards, Qin Shihuang will no longer be called Qin Shihuang. He'll be called Emperor Yi and will no longer have any relationship with your Qin clan. Are you serious? The cloud flipping palm will completely belong to the Qin clan and the Qin clan won't owe you any more spirit crystals." Qin Ning was overjoyed. A blind cripple, and a little girl at that, in exchange for the 5th grade martial technique, cloud flipping palm, was simply great news. Yes, so Qin Shihuang will no longer be Qin Shihuang. He'll be Emperor Yi. If any of you dare to order him around, don't blame me for being impolite." Yi Qinghan coldly warned. "Good. Qin Shihuang, no, Emperor Yi will no longer have any relationship with my Qin clan. My Qin clan also won't owe Mr. Yi any more spirit crystals. As for the remaining cooperation, I think it's better if Mr. Yi doesn't end it. After all, this old man doesn't want to fall out with you. You don't want that either, right?" Qin Ning coldly smiled and lightly asked. Yi Qinghan disdainfully smiled. There was no need to cooperate with such a clan. It was not safe to leave Yi Mengshi and the others in the Spirit Treasures Pavilion. He could only choose to cooperate with someone else, and it had to be someone smart. No need. Qi Ning, leave Qin Haoren here. Go to Qingzhou and personally bring Yi Mengxi and the others here. If I don't see them tomorrow, you will regret it. Yi Qinghan resolutely shouted. Qin Ying's expression changed. He didn't think that asking Qin Shihuang to kneel would cause such a big reaction from Yi Qinghan. He didn't even hesitate to end the cooperation and fall out with him. Yi Qinghan, do you want to fall out with this old man? Qin Ning questioned. I won't fall out with you, but I hope you won't play any tricks. These are useless against me. If Yi Mengxi and the others die, your Qin clan will have 100 direct descendants buried with them. If all 3 of them die, your Qin clan will cease to exist. I will do what I say. If you don't believe me, you can try. Yi Qinghan's aura exploded. His Grand Marshal Saint Soul pressed down on Qin Ning. His battle intent soared to the heavens. The domineering aura caused Qin Ying's expression to change. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.